The quiet delinquent in your class? She's secretly homeless. You let her crash at your place, then realize she's your first love from kindergarten.
After sorting through old memories, one image stands out: a lone girl. This is the story of Akamori's first love, dating back to kindergarten. One rainy night at the park, Akamori sees a girl sitting on a bench. He recognized her immediately. It was Sutome, the beautiful girl well known throughout the school. Sutome rarely attended class, and her bright blonde hair and striking appearance often fueled rumors. She carried an aura that warned others to keep their distance, making her seem unapproachable. Akamori hadn't realized they went to the same middle school until he noticed her in his class. That night, seeing her sitting alone in the rain stirs something inside him. He hesitates before walking over and asks if she is Sutome. To his surprise, she recognizes him. When he asks why she is out there, she replies casually that she isn't doing much of anything. Worried, Akamori warns her that staying in the rain could make her sick. She dismisses his concern, saying she is fine and wants to be left alone. But Akamori can't just walk away. Her uniform is soaked, the fabric clinging to her skin, and her disheveled state speaks volumes. Sutome mentions that the rain is getting heavier, as if excusing her appearance. When he asks why she doesn't go home, he notices her skirt is wrinkled and messy. Then she says something that shocks him: she didn't have a home. Confused, he asks what she meant, though he already has a sense of the truth. From the moment he saw her, surrounded by terrible rumors and sitting alone in the rain, he realized she was carrying a heavy burden. Without thinking, he asks if she wants to come to his place. Sutome seems taken aback, but Akamori quickly explains. He tells her she can't stay out in the rain forever. While he didn't know what she was going through, she should at least think things over somewhere warm and dry. Her eyes flicker with surprise, and she asks if it is really okay. Akamori smiles and says that if she is comfortable with it, then it will be fine. When he sees her expression, he is reminded of the face she always made, a face shadowed by overwhelming sadness. Sutome finally agrees, and they begin walking together. Just like that, Akamori finds himself bringing the class loner home. That night, the rain poured heavily as they entered his house. Inside, he asks her to make herself at home. The air feels awkward, but he presses on, offering her a towel and some spare clothes to change into. Pointing toward the bathroom down the corridor, he suggests she take a bath and mentions she can wear spare clothes if she is comfortable with it. She nods in thanks and disappears into the bathroom. The moment she is out of sight, doubt hits him like a wave. He realizes the situation is growing stranger by the minute, and he has no idea what he is doing. Pacing back and forth, he begins to question himself. They are classmates, but is it really okay to bring a girl he barely knows into his home like this? No matter how he looks at it, this seems like the kind of situation that could turn troublesome. He wonders if he even needs to get involved in the first place. Despite his reservations, he can't have left her out in the rain. It isn't just a fleeting act of kindness. There is something about her that draws him in. Something deeper he can't quite explain. He hadn't been able to ignore her then, and he certainly can't now. Reflecting on his bold offer, he realizes how daring his words have been. It wasn't just sympathy that led him to invite her inside. What surprises him even more is that she actually accepted. Given the way his thoughts are spiraling, he begins to feel that this situation might lead to a positive outcome. He vaguely remembers a magazine article he read some time ago, which mentioned that when a girl agrees to visit your place, certain unspoken things might be considered acceptable. However, his thoughts quickly shift, and he snaps back to reality. His mind starts spiraling again, and he begins to worry. If something like that were to happen, it might be a trap. Rejecting a woman's advances could be seen as shameful for a man. But what if she hadn't given her consent? He has read too many stories online about men whose lives were ruined by misunderstandings. In his mind, he pictured Sutome sitting on his bed, whispering that she was ready. He imagined going along with it, only for her to suddenly pull out a camera, take a picture, and call the police. He could see himself pleading with the officers, trying to explain that it wasn't what it looked like. But he knew they wouldn't believe him, not even for a second. His youth, his springtime of innocence, would be over in an instant, leaving him to live a bitter life, perhaps in the next one. Shaking himself out of these ridiculous thoughts, he chastised himself for letting his mind wander and decided to focus on cooking dinner. While preparing the food, he mulled things over. First of all, he wasn't even interested in antisocial blonde girls. His type was more refined, graceful, and proper beauties. Just as he was lost in his musings, Sutome suddenly emerged from the bathroom, wearing his spare clothes. Her hair was still damp, and her face seemed to glow. She smiled softly and thanked him for the bath. The sight of her fresh and radiant after the bath was almost too much for him, and she seemed to sense his discomfort. When she asked if something was wrong, he quickly averted his gaze, never imagining he'd find himself in such an awkward situation, a girl fresh out of the bath wearing his clothes. Clearing his throat, he announced that dinner was ready. As they sat down to eat, Sutome apologized for being a bother, but he waved it off like it was nothing. When she took her first bite, her eyes lit up, and she praised Akamori, saying the food was delicious. He tried to stay humble, brushing it off as just fried rice, but the compliment caught him off guard. He hadn't expected their conversation to flow so naturally. Living alone had evidently sharpened his cooking skills. Sutome seemed surprised when she learned he lived alone, so he explained. Temporarily, he clarified, his father's job transfer had been finalized right after he received his acceptance letter to high school. Since it wasn't possible to change schools so close to enrollment, his parents and sister had moved ahead, and he would join them after starting 10th grade. For now, he was on his own. There is something Akamori wants to ask her, but he hesitates. He assures her that since he is transferring schools soon, there is little risk of his words spreading. More importantly, he has no intention of gossiping about it. He just needs to know if she is comfortable talking about it. Akamori asks what she meant earlier when she said she didn't have a home. He adds that if she doesn't want to explain, he won't push her. To his surprise, Sutome, after a moment's hesitation, begins to speak. She tells him that when she was little, her parents had divorced. From that point on, it had just been her and her mother, scraping by and barely making ends meet. To help out, she had started working part-time jobs, even skipping school sometimes. But one day, after returning from one of her shifts, her mother was gone. Akamori blinks in disbelief and asks if her mother had left a note or some explanation, but she shakes her head. She reveals that her mother had recently gotten a new boyfriend and might have left with him. Akamori's mind races, struggling to comprehend how a mother could abandon her own daughter, who worked so hard to support them. Sutome continues, explaining that after her mother left, the landlord came to her about their overdue rent. Without the money to pay, she had no choice but to leave. She packed what little she could carry and moved out of the apartment. As her savings ran out, her last option was to stay in a park. Akamori can't believe what he is hearing. The thought of her mother running off with a boyfriend while her daughter struggled alone is too much for him to process. It makes him feel dizzy. The whole situation feels wrong on every level. He cautiously asks what she plans to do now, though he fears hearing her answer. Sutome's sadness is clear in her eyes as she quietly admits she has no idea what to do next. Without thinking, Akamori offers to let her stay at his place for the time being if she has nowhere else to go. Sutome looks at him, startled, and quickly says she can't accept, feeling she has already caused him enough trouble just by coming here. He can see how uncomfortable and on edge she is. Gently, he reassures her, promising he won't do anything inappropriate. He explains that she can use one of the empty rooms, and he won't tell anyone about her situation. Akamori knows he isn't obligated to help her. This isn't his problem, and as a high school student, there isn't much he can do. But after hearing her story, he can't simply walk away. Something deeper, something buried in his past, compels him to act. The memory of his first love lingers in Akamori's mind. That girl had always sat alone in the corner of the classroom, looking so lonely. No matter how much anyone tried to talk to her, she never really responded. Yet, he couldn't help but feel curious about her. Now, seeing Sutome in the park, her image seems to overlap with that girl's. Perhaps it's regret, a lingering feeling of not being able to help back then. Sutome still seems hesitant as she asks if it is really okay. Akamori reassures her, saying they need to help each other when in trouble. He agrees but adds one condition. There is just one thing he wants her to promise. He explains that he won't ask for rent or anything else, but she should do her part-time jobs in moderation. More importantly, he wants her to start coming back to school and regain her normal life. She quietly nods, seeming to understand. Seeing her agree, Akamori feels a small warmth spread through him. He is happy that she can stay, and Sutome softly thanks him. And just like that, their cohabitation begins. Akamori doesn't realize yet that this arrangement won't be as simple as he thinks. Later that night, while soaking in the bath, his thoughts begin to wander. The realization suddenly hits him. He is now using the same bath that Sutome had just used. His heart races, and his thoughts stray to places he doesn't want them to go. Quickly, he snaps back to reality, trying to calm himself down. The morning arrives quietly, with sunlight filtering through the curtains as Akamori prepares breakfast in the kitchen. As he cooks, his thoughts drift to the previous night when he brought Sutome to his home. Only a single night has passed, yet it feels much longer. He realizes it has been ages since he last had breakfast. Usually he finds it too much of a hassle and skips it, heading straight to school. But this time is different. He can't follow his usual routine. He can't ignore her needs. Akamori lets her use his little sister's room, meaning she is sleeping in his sister's bed. The thought crosses his mind briefly. A fleeting image of what it would be like if she had ended up sleeping beside him instead. But reality, as always, isn't that kind. As he continues cooking, he wonders if Sutome is awake. She had been soaked from the rain last night, and he worries she might have caught a cold. Concerned, he decides to check on her. He heads upstairs and softly knocks on the door, asking if she is all right. Slowly opening the door, he sees that she is still sleeping. Akamori pauses, gazing at her face. Her long eyelashes, the soft red hue of her lips against her pale skin. She looks so peaceful. He is struck by how pretty she is. It is hard to reconcile this image with the rumors that surround her at school. Suddenly she stirs, and panic washes over him. If she wakes up now, she might think he is spying on her. His mind races for a place to hide, but before he can move, Sutome opens her eyes. For a moment, she looks confused, as though she has forgotten where she is. Then, realization dawns as she sees him and remembers she is at his house. Akamori quickly composes himself, awkwardly informing her that breakfast is ready in the living room. He adds that she can wash her face and come down when she is ready. She nods sleepily, getting up from the bed. As she walks out of the room, she bumps into the door, and Akamori can't help but find it amusing. Sutome clearly isn't a morning person. At the dining table, they eat in silence. Sutome takes a bite and softly says it is delicious. Relieved, Akamori explains that he isn't sure if she prefers bread or rice, so he went with rice. She nods, saying she likes rice, and he feels he has made the right choice. Yet, despite the warm meal, an awkward silence hangs between them. It isn't because she is a girl, there is something else. Sitting face to face like this makes everything feel more intense. Yesterday, when he impulsively brought her home, conversation flowed more easily. Now, sitting across from her, it feels as though a wall stands between them. They are classmates, but yesterday was the first time they really spoke. Since then, Akamori has asked himself over and over if he did the right thing. Even now, he still isn't sure. Sutome breaks the silence, softly asking if he isn't going to eat. Akamori nods and begins eating his breakfast. When they finish, he tells her he will leave first and that she can take her time getting ready for school. Feeling a bit self-conscious, he thinks they can't really go to school together. He also mentions that he washed her drenched uniform. She thanks him, looking surprised and almost in awe at how much he has done. Akamori admits he hasn't always been this capable. He explains that he never did chores until middle school, and that it was hard at first when he started living alone. But, as he puts it, you have to take responsibility when there is no other option. Looking at her seriously, he tells her not to worry too much about what will happen next, and assures her that everything will be all right. Sutome smiles at his words and agrees that it will be nice. After finishing breakfast, Akamori hands her a small key, a spare to the house. He explains that she will need it if they are going to live together, as she will be the one to lock up after him when he leaves. Sutome nods in understanding. Akamori pauses for a moment before suggesting, somewhat awkwardly, that they start calling each other by their first names. He reasons that living together while using formal surnames would feel too distant. Smiling, he proposes that she call him Akira from now on. Sutome agrees and says he can call her Aoi. The shift from formalities to something more familiar feels like an important first step in closing the emotional distance between them. Later, as Akira sits in the classroom waiting for the teacher to arrive, a voice greets him. It is Eiji, his only friend from way back. Their families have moved around a lot because of their father's jobs, but there was a time many years ago when Akira lived in this town. Back then, Eiji would always play with him when they were in kindergarten. They reunite in middle school, but Akira is still surprised by how much Eiji has changed, growing into a strikingly handsome guy over the years. Akira asks why Eiji isn't with Izumi today. Eiji explains that Izumi has gone to the staff room for something. Almost on cue, Izumi arrives, apologizing for making Eiji wait before throwing her arms around him. Izumi, not only the class representative but also Eiji's girlfriend, is as affectionate as ever. They are inseparable, the kind of couple that seems like they are meant to be. Akira thinks about how the two of them have been dating since middle school. They are practically famous for their relationship, always lost in their own world of affection and oblivious to everyone around them. Suddenly, Akira coughs, unintentionally drawing attention to himself, and with a teasing smile, Akira remarks if she has forgotten about him. Izumi's face lights up as if she remembers something important. She mentions that she's coming today, and just as those words leave her lips, Aoi steps into the classroom. Akira can't help but notice how the other students react. Some whisper among themselves, surprised by her presence, noting how rare it is for her to come to school. One even mutters that they had almost forgotten about her. Izumi, however, doesn't miss a beat. She walks over to Aoi and asks how she is. Aoi tries to stay casual, greeting Izumi back. When asked how she has been, Aoi replies simply that she is fine as usual, though her tone seems a little guarded. Izumi, unfazed, smiles even wider and assures her that being normal is the best. Akira observes the interaction from his seat, struck by Izumi's kindness. While most of the class either ignores Aoi or doesn't know how to approach her, Izumi's open and friendly nature stands out. Izumi speaks to her confidently, unfazed by the whispers and stares of their classmates. It is clear, though, that Aoi isn't fully open to her, but Akira can't help wondering what will happen when he eventually transfers schools. Without him, Aoi will lose not only a place to stay, but also the fragile sense of belonging she has started to find at school. Aoi's situation is precarious. She rarely attends classes, and her teachers don't think highly of her. She is a student with no support, burdened by a poor reputation. Akira doubts there will be anyone willing to extend a hand once he leaves, unless Aoi herself makes an effort to change things. But that seems unlikely. Just then, Eiji leans over to Akira with a teasing grin, asking if he is really that interested in Aoi coming to school. Akira quickly denies it, insisting it isn't like that, trying to dismiss the idea. Eiji, however, presses further. Akira glances briefly at Aoi before replying. He mentions that she had attended the same middle school as them, and admits he is just curious if she has always been like this. He wants to understand more about her past and how she became the person she is now. Eiji thinks for a moment before responding. He agrees that Aoi has always been that way. They hadn't been in the same class as her, but back then, she didn't really stand out. It wasn't until high school that she became more of a loner. Akira finds himself lost in thought, reflecting on how much Aoi has changed since he first met her. From what he has heard, she has completely shifted her style around that time. Noticing his distraction, Eiji offers a sincere word of support, telling Akira that he is there if Akira needs someone to talk to. Feeling slightly embarrassed, Akira shakes his head and assures him it is nothing, but he appreciates the sentiment. Still, Eiji's words linger in his mind for the rest of the day. His thoughts keep circling back to Aoi and their new living arrangement. He doesn't have clear answers about how things will work. Instead, his mind is filled with endless questions. As evening falls and the chill of the night sets in, Akira sits at home, realizing how cold it has gotten. Earlier, he had given Aoi a long-sleeve shirt, but he doubts it is enough to keep her warm. She had mentioned bringing only the bare essentials, which likely means she doesn't have many spare clothes. Beyond that, there are probably other necessities she wouldn't feel comfortable mentioning to him. Determined not to let her stay uncomfortable, Akira decides to check on her. In the living room, he sees Aoi and tells her it is cold tonight, offering her some extra clothes. Aoi quietly thanks him, and an idea begins to form in his mind. He asks if she has any plans for tomorrow. She says she doesn't, mentioning that she has reduced her part-time shifts during the week since she is attending school again. Akira hesitates for a moment before suggesting they go shopping together. Aoi looks surprised and blushes, clearly flustered. Realizing how she might have misunderstood, Akira panics and quickly explains. Waving his hands, he clarifies that he doesn't mean it in that way. He stammers, saying he thinks she might need more clothes and daily necessities, and since there might be a lot to carry, he could help. Aoi, now understanding, lets out a small laugh and apologizes for the misunderstanding. Akira shakes his head, saying it is his fault for not explaining it better. Aoi admits she would like to go but hesitates, mentioning that she doesn't have enough money until her next paycheck. Without missing a beat, Akira reassures her, saying she can count on him. But Aoi shakes her head again, insisting she doesn't want him to pay for her or feel burdened. Akira, however, is firm. He tells her that he has saved up for emergencies, and that this counts as one. It isn't just for him, but for both of them to live comfortably. He smiles, hoping to ease her worries. Aoi hesitates, asking if it is really all right. Akira reassures her again, and she finally thanks him, though he can't help but notice the troubled look on her face. It is as if accepting help causes her pain. They say goodnight soon after, but the image of her expression lingers in Akira's mind. He can't stop thinking about her circumstances and how difficult things must have been for her. It's Saturday, and Akira and Aoi decide to visit the mall. As they stroll, Akira breaks the silence by suggesting they check out some clothes first, and Aoi simply agrees. They step into a boutique, and Akira immediately notices how the store is clearly targeted toward girls. The realization dawns on him. He's surrounded by nothing but girls, making him wonder if he should have chosen a store that caters to both. His gaze drifts to Aoi, who seems hesitant and isn't picking out any clothes. Curious, he approaches her and asks if anything has caught her eye. Aoi confesses that it's hard to choose. Then, almost out of the blue, she asks Akira what kind of clothes he thinks would suit her. Akira pauses, caught off guard, and tells her it's more about what she likes rather than his opinion. But Aoi, with her gentle reasoning, replies that since Akira is the one paying, it would help if he made the decision for her. This surprises him, such an important role handed over so easily. He starts to think, should he go for something neat and proper? Maybe a bright blouse paired with a long skirt for the season. Something that evokes a sense of coolness. A pleated skirt might be even better. His mind wanders, imagining the endless appeal of those pleats, but he quickly reels himself back. In truth, he has no idea what girls actually like. His musings become vocal as he wonders aloud if something flashy might suit her. Aoi, confused, asks what kind of clothes he's talking about. Akira realizes how vague that sounds and explains that there's such a wide variety of girls with similar styles to Aoi. From those who tan at salons to those who meticulously maintain pale skin, he had even researched this last night. Aoi softly says she prefers more subdued clothing. Akira nods and asks if something neat and clean would work for her. As he reflects, it dawns on him that Aoi fits the neat and proper type, and he likes that about her. He points to the clothes on a nearby mannequin and suggests she try them on. Aoi agrees and Akira waits. As he waits, he becomes aware of how crowded the store is. The thought nags at him. What if someone from their school sees them together? Rumors could spread, whispers about them dating in secret. It would be troublesome. Worse, what if Aoi's circumstances or even their cohabitation was exposed? The thought unsettles him. He decides it's best to finish up and leave as soon as possible. Aoi's voice pulls Akira from his thoughts as she apologizes for the wait. He's about to brush it off, but the words catch in his throat when he sees her standing before him in the outfit he picked out. She looks stunning, and for a moment, he's speechless. Although he knew he had chosen the clothes, seeing her wear them leaves him pleasantly surprised. They suit her far better than he imagined, and he feels a quiet sense of pride. Noticing his pause, Aoi asks if the outfit doesn't suit her. Akira quickly reassures her that it looks amazing, and she seems relieved. They agree to purchase it, but when Akira suggests buying a few more sets, Aoi hesitates. She insists she can't let him buy her multiple outfits. Akira gently assures her that she doesn't need to hold back, but he can tell from her expression that she feels more troubled than grateful. Understanding her feelings, he proposes a compromise. She can treat it as an advance and pay him back whenever she's able. He reminds her that he just wants them both to live comfortably without worrying about minor details. Smiling, he offers this solution, and Aoi responds in a soft, uncertain tone, asking if it's really okay. Akira firmly reassures her, and to his surprise, she smiles. A small, slightly stiff smile, but one that is undeniably sincere. It's the first time she has smiled at him, and the moment strikes him deeply, leaving him unexpectedly happy. As they continue walking, Akira suggests they check out another store, but his thoughts keep returning to that smile. After a while, he asks if there's anything else she'd like to buy. Aoi shakes her head but hesitates, and Akira notices the uncertainty in her eyes. She quickly responds that it's fine, but Akira isn't convinced. He gently encourages her, saying they're already out and she can say whatever is on her mind. When she still hesitates, Akira decides to take the lead and asks her to follow him for a moment. He leads her to a nearby salon, and Aoi's eyes widen in surprise as they approach. Akira couldn't stop thinking about the troubled look she had earlier, and while he loves her black hair as it is, he wanted to give her the option to make it even more beautiful. Aoi immediately protests, saying it will be too expensive, but Akira shakes his head with a reassuring smile. As they step inside, the salon staff warmly welcomes them, and for a brief moment, Akira's thoughts wander, wondering why male beauticians always seem to look so strikingly handsome. Akira explains to the staff that they don't have an appointment, and asks if that will be a problem. The beautician reassures him it is fine and asks if both of them need haircuts. Akira clarifies that it is just for Aoi and asks them to take good care of her. The staff nods and motions for an assistant to lead Aoi to her seat, but Aoi freezes. Flustered, she stammers, saying she isn't his girlfriend. Akira is stunned and doesn't know how to respond. Even the staff look momentarily caught off guard. Trying to smooth things over, Akira gently explains that the staff probably didn't mean it that way, suggesting it is just a casual customer service term. Still, Aoi is embarrassed, realizing she has misunderstood the situation entirely. As Akira watches her, he can't help but reflect on her innocence. There is an almost naive quality about her that he has noticed since the first time he invited her to his home. From her outward appearance, anyone might assume she is a typical delinquent, with her blonde hair and gyaru style. But the truth is far different. It is surprising enough to learn that she works part-time to help support her family financially. Curious, Akira asks her why she said this is her first time at a salon. Aoi smiles faintly and explains that her mom used to cut her hair for her, and as for the blonde color, they had bleached it together at home. Akira pauses, thinking for a moment before asking if she isn't actually a gyaru. Aoi looks confused and asks why he thinks that. Akira has suspected it before, but now he is certain. Aoi isn't the rebellious gyaru or delinquent she appears to be. She doesn't skip classes out of defiance, but because she is helping her family. She doesn't bleach her hair to follow trends or stand out. It is simply a shared experience with her mother. Beneath her outward appearance is just a regular girl who cares deeply about her family. The beautician, having overheard their conversation, smiles warmly and says he is honored to welcome Aoi to her first salon experience. Aoi sits down in the chair, and the beautician asks how they should proceed. Akira, now fully aware that Aoi isn't the person everyone misunderstands her to be, finds her earlier reaction simply adorable. When the beautician glances at him for guidance, Akira tells him to go ahead and make her look even prettier. As the beautician works on Aoi's hair, Akira's thoughts wander. He realizes how deeply he had misunderstood her. Aoi isn't the rebellious girl people think she is. She is a reserved, kind-hearted person who had unintentionally reinforced the misconceptions others had about her by keeping her distance. Akira feels a newfound determination rising within him. He now understands what he can do for Aoi. The beautician's voice brings him back to the present, and Akira turns to look at her. She is stunning. Her new look takes his breath away, leaving him momentarily speechless. Aoi, feeling unsure, hesitates and asks if she looks weird. Snapping out of his daze, Akira quickly reassures her that her new hair color suits her perfectly. When she presses further, still uncertain, he firmly tells her he would never lie. Hearing this, Aoi finally relaxes, realizing everything is fine. As they leave the parlor, they thank the beautician for his work. While walking outside, Akira thinks about grabbing lunch before heading home, but feels uneasy about the crowded streets. The more people around, the higher the chance of being seen together, which could lead to complications. Deciding it is safer, he suggests they head home and buy whatever else they need online. Aoi agrees, and they begin making their way out of the busy area. Just as they are about to leave, Akira's heart skips a beat at the sound of a familiar voice calling out, teasingly remarking that Akira is on a date. Shocked, he turns toward the voice and sees Izumi and Eiji standing there. Panic sets in immediately, but he tries to keep calm as he asks what they are doing there. Eiji, smirking, comments that this is a popular date spot. Izumi joins in, teasing Akira for not mentioning he had such a cute girlfriend. Aoi stands silently, watching the interaction. Izumi introduces herself to Aoi with a friendly smile, and also introduces Eiji as her boyfriend. Akira, on edge, hopes desperately that they won't recognize Aoi. But then Izumi asks Aoi for her name, saying she looks familiar. Akira's heart races as he silently prays that they won't piece it together. Eiji's eyes suddenly light up with recognition, and he asks Aoi if she has changed her hair color, mentioning that black suited her better. Izumi's expression shifts as realization dawns on her. Aoi nods, and Izumi gasps, marveling at how pretty she has become to the point of being unrecognizable at first. Akira, meanwhile, feels like his soul has left his body. As Izumi continues admiring and praising Aoi, they ask the inevitable question, what are they doing here together? Akira knows in that moment there is no escaping this. It is all over. Eiji, Izumi, Aoi, and Akira sit together in the cafeteria. Eiji tries to ease the tension, joking that he won't tease Akira this time. But Akira's mind races as he wonders how much he should reveal, and how much could he share without overstepping. He knows that avoiding the truth will only complicate things, but being completely honest means exposing Aoi's personal circumstances. The weight of the decision presses on him. At the same time, he realizes that trusting Eiji and Izumi might be the best option. It's better to confide in close friends than risk wild rumors spreading later. Turning to Aoi, Akira asks gently if it would be all right to tell them everything. Aoi looks surprised and uncertain, hesitating for a moment. Sensing her unease, Akira reassures her, saying he completely trusts Eiji and Izumi. They aren't the kind of people who would carelessly share her secrets. After a brief pause, Aoi nodded in agreement. Akira lets out a sigh of relief, thanking her before turning to his friends. He tells them that what he is about to share needs to remain a secret and asks for their help. Eiji leans forward, raising an eyebrow, and says it depends on what Akira is about to reveal, but promises to keep it confidential. Izumi nods, silently agreeing. Taking a deep breath, Akira begins explaining everything. Aoi's situation, their unexpected cohabitation, and the struggles she faces. As Akira speaks, Eiji's expression shifts to shock. When Akira finishes, Eiji is the first to respond. He admits he hadn't expected anything like this and asks what they plan to do next. Akira takes a moment to think before replying. He says he wants to resolve Aoi's situation before they start their second year. This includes fixing her living arrangements and addressing the rumors about her. Though he doesn't have a clear plan yet, he is determined to help her through it all. As Akira speaks, Aoi watches him closely, moved by his sincerity. He admits that their cohabitation is still new, and their relationship has mostly been limited to small conversations. Clenching his hands, he declares that he has made up his mind. From the moment he learned about Aoi's situation, he wanted to help her. Even before his feelings of worry, something about her compelled him. Maybe it is the remnants of his first love, but he knows there is no pretense in his heart. Helping her just feels worth it. Eiji grins, now fully understanding the situation, and agrees to help. With a confident smile, he remarks that Akira can never leave things alone. Flustered, Akira tries to protest, but Eiji nods knowingly, adding that Akira isn't the type to offer help half-heartedly. When the time comes, he always acts without hesitation, and that's just the kind of person he is. Akira thinks deeply, trying to remember if he has ever behaved that way. Still, he feels relieved to hear Izumi's support. He starts to ask her opinion, but before he can, Izumi wipes away tears and nods, saying she will help. Overcome with emotion, she tries to stop herself from crying, but her reaction reassures Akira. Eiji breaks the moment by asking why Akira has set a time limit before becoming a second year. Akira freezes, dreading this question. With a heavy sigh, he reveals the truth. He is going to transfer again. Both Eiji and Izumi are stunned. Akira explains that his family had already moved away in the spring because of his father's job. He had stayed behind to finish the year at this school, but would transfer to a new one next year. Izumi is shocked and asks if Hiyori has also left. Akira confirms it, explaining that Hiyori, now in her third year of middle school, will benefit from transferring early since it will help her prepare for high school entrance exams. Hiyori and Izumi have always been incredibly close, and Akira regrets that Izumi has to find out this way. Concerned, Akira asks if Izumi still wants to stay in touch with Hiyori. Without hesitation, Izumi reassures him that it isn't an issue and that she understands. Eiji, still processing the news, expresses his surprise. Akira admits that he wants to hear Aoi's thoughts before making any final decisions, and Eiji agrees. Turning to Aoi, Akira asks if they should leave now. However, Aoi smiles gently and shakes her head, saying she still has something to take care of there, and that Akira can go on ahead without her. Izumi, curious, asks if Aoi needs to do more shopping and offers to join her. Then, turning to Eiji, Izumi reminds him about their date that day. Smiling, she tells him she loves him before leaving with Aoi. Left alone at the table, Akira and Eiji sit across from each other in silence. Breaking it, Akira smirks and remarks on how easily Eiji and Izumi express their love so openly in public. Eiji shrugs, saying it's natural for a couple. Akira questions whether couples need to say it aloud if they are already close enough to understand. Eiji leans back thoughtfully and shares his perspective. He believes that no boy and girl, not even family members, can completely understand each other without words. That's precisely why communication is so important. Eiji explains that while being considerate and leaving things unsaid might seem thoughtful, it isn't the same as avoiding necessary conversations. Eiji advises Akira that if he wants to be with someone who matters to him, he needs to have honest conversations. He doesn't have to fully understand her feelings immediately, but should at least try to talk openly. Eiji also points out that Aoi seems like the type to keep things to herself, so Akira should approach her carefully. Akira takes this advice to heart and knows what he must do. Later that evening, Akira is in the kitchen, cooking dinner. As he works, he wonders what time Aoi will get home. He considers sending her a message but hesitates, not wanting to disturb her. He finds himself wondering if this is how all boyfriends feel while waiting for their girlfriends to return. Suddenly, the smell of something burning pulls him out of his thoughts. His hamburger has scorched. Just then, the front door creaks open. Akira turns and greets Aoi, welcoming her back, but she immediately apologizes for being late. A bit confused, Akira listens as Aoi explains that she had lunch with Izumi after finishing her shopping, and hadn't realized how late it had gotten. She apologizes again, saying she had planned to come home earlier. Akira gently shakes his head and tells her she doesn't need to apologize. Aoi hesitates before explaining that in the past, whenever she came home late, her mother would scold her harshly. Akira feels his heart sink. For Aoi to tremble over something as small as being late, he can't help but wonder how strict her mother must have been. The thought troubles him, but then he recalls Eiji's advice, not to mistake consideration for modesty and to talk about what really matters. Looking concerned but trying to keep his tone gentle, Akira asks if they can talk for a bit. He starts by asking if she had fun with Izumi today. Aoi nods, smiling, and agrees that it was fun. Curious, Akira asks what they did. Aoi pauses before admitting that she's rarely had the chance to go out and enjoy herself with someone. She explains that her mother was very strict, so she usually stayed home during holidays. But today, spending time with Akira and Izumi made her so happy that she completely lost track of time. Akira smiles and says he's glad to hear that. He reassures her that she doesn't need to worry about coming home late anymore. Trying to keep the mood light, he remarks that time flies when you're having fun. He looks at her warmly, admitting he doesn't know how her mother feels since every family is different. But seeing her enjoy herself so much that she forgot the time makes him happy. Akira assures her that his concern wasn't about being upset. He was simply worried about her. Aoi, touched by his words, looks at him with gratitude. Akira gently asks if she could let him know in the future if she'll be late, just so he won't have to worry. Aoi nods, promising to make sure she does it from now on. She mentions that she has a lot of fun but admits she isn't very good at talking to people and worries that Izumi might have found her boring. Akira immediately reassures her, saying it isn't like that at all. Her face brightens, hopeful that he is right, though she confesses she still feels a bit jealous of how close Akira is with Izumi and Eiji. This catches Akira off guard. It is the first time he hears Aoi express such feelings, at least as far as he can remember. Smiling warmly, he tells her that Izumi already thinks of her as a friend. Aoi looks skeptical, but Akira chuckles, saying that Izumi will probably pester her even more tomorrow, and that she should be ready for it. Aoi laughs, her cheeks flushing, and says she'd be really happy if that happens. Suddenly, Akira sniffs the air and notices something unusual. He asks Aoi if she smells something burning before dashing toward the kitchen, his heart pounding. When he gets there, he finds his burger completely charred and smoking. Aoi follows and bursts out laughing at the sight. Akira turns to her, surprised, and asks if she is laughing at him. Aoi's eyes sparkle as she replies that she's always thought he could do anything, and seeing him make a mistake like this is funny. Akira sighs, scratching his head, and admits that he isn't perfect. He tells her about how, when he first started living on his own, he once mixed up sugar with salt, and made a miso soup so salty that it was undrinkable. Aoi listens attentively, her smile never fading, as Akira shares more stories of his domestic mishaps. Each tale makes her laugh a little more, and soon the two are sitting at the dining table, ready to attempt eating the burnt burger. Akira asks if she is really okay eating it, but Aoi assures him that it is still edible and worth a try. Smiling at him, she says that even if it doesn't taste great, this moment might become a good memory. Her words make Akira pause and reflect, realizing the truth in what she says. A mistake that feels troublesome when you are alone can turn into something to laugh about when shared with someone else. Later that night, Akira lies in bed, unable to sleep. His mind is buzzing with everything Aoi has said, and he feels too restless to stay in bed. He decides to get up for a glass of water. As he walks into the living room, he notices Aoi curled up on the couch, fast asleep. The quiet hum of the washing machine ends with a beep, and Akira realizes she must have been waiting for her laundry to finish. Wanting to help, he quietly moves to transfer her clothes to the dryer. As he reaches for the pile, his hand brushes against something soft. Checking what it is, his face turns pale when he realizes it is Aoi's bra. Panic surges through him as his mind races. Deciding to act like nothing has happened, he hurriedly moves to finish the task. Just as he is about to leave, he hears soft footsteps behind him. Aoi's gentle voice calls out to him, and Akira freezes. Spinning around in a panic, he blurts out that he hasn't touched anything on purpose and is just trying to help since she's fallen asleep. Before she can say anything, Akira bolts to his bedroom, slamming the door shut behind him. Collapsing onto his bed, his face burns with embarrassment, and he thinks to himself that this might be the end. A few days later, Akira is walking to school, reflecting that after the incident with the underwear, they set a few house rules to maintain order. Still, he thinks to himself that it was worth it, and it was quite a sight. Later in class, Aoi enters the classroom, grabbing everyone's attention because of how stunning she looks. She's a little confused about the reaction, while Akira thinks to himself that it's natural and they're surprised because Aoi has undergone a radical transformation and looks absolutely exquisite. Izumi shows up, greeting her good morning as she hugs her, which catches everyone's attention as they realize she's with Aoi. This draws the admiration of many girls and stares from the boys, though not everyone seems thrilled about it. Akira notices this and thinks there's no way everyone's opinion will change suddenly, but at least things can keep improving from here. He reassures himself that everything will get easier from now on. Some days later, all four of them gather at Akira's house. Izumi and Eiji ask what the issue is, and Akira responds that he needs to talk to them about Aoi's future. He explains that, as mentioned before, he's trying to improve her situation and wants to hear their opinions about what to do next. Eiji agrees to listen to his situation. Akira explains that there are two main problems right now. The first is that both students and teachers have a negative impression of Aoi, which was somewhat inevitable. However, he wants everyone to see her as a normal, beautiful girl and not some gyaru. Aoi reacts with surprise while Eiji agrees with Akira too, but Izumi is still not sure how they can achieve something like this. Akira suggests they should do something about it, saying he has an idea to clear up the misunderstanding with Izumi's help, which leaves her a bit confused. Akira explains that she is the class representative whom everyone trusts, so she can act as a bridge between Aoi and everyone else to help them get along. Over time, this could change their impression of Aoi. However, there's a chance Izumi's reputation could be affected if people start getting along with Aoi, since everyone assumes she's a delinquent. It's a bit risky, but Izumi responds that she doesn't care about that at all. She values her friend more and insists on helping her. Aoi looks with wide, bright eyes at Izumi and thanks her. Akira internally reflects that this might solve the issue, but he notes that clearing up misunderstandings with everyone isn't enough. There's also the academic aspect to consider. Eiji mentions that to improve the teacher's impression of Aoi, she needs to get good grades. Akira then asks Aoi about her recent exam results. She pulls out her report card from her backpack, leaving everyone shocked because her grades are very low. Aoi says she failed every subject except one, but she explains that she had to miss school to work and help her family, something she couldn't avoid. Akira says it will be enough at first if Aoi just avoids failing classes. Aoi agrees but still feels very embarrassed. Akira tries to reassure her, saying there's no need to feel that way and that they just need to improve from now on. He reflects that he felt the same embarrassment when he accidentally saw her underwear. He thinks he is doomed to mess up every time he tries to help Aoi. Still, Izumi tells Aoi not to worry, offering to tutor her if she wants to study, which cheers Aoi up. Akira knows Izumi is smart, and he is happy that Izumi is there for Aoi's help. Even Eiji agrees to help, suggesting they can all study together. Izumi gets excited thinking about a sleepover to study, and Akira suggests they can use his house for the sleepover. However, another issue arises, and it is about where Aoi will live in the future. Akira explains that he can only let her stay at his house until next March, when he transfers to another city. By then, they need to find a place where Aoi can live comfortably. This, he admits, is the biggest problem they need to solve. Akira reflects on how hard it must be for students without parents, unable to imagine being in such a situation and the anxiety it must cause Aoi. He thinks it's almost a miracle that, despite everything, she can still smile so beautifully. Eiji then suggests that it would be best if a family member could take care of Aoi, and he asks if Aoi has any grandparents. She responds that she hasn't been in contact with her relatives, but she did meet her grandmother when she was a child. He asks if she remembers where her grandmother lives. Aoi answers that all she knows is that it's not in the same city. Akira reassures her, saying that's at least a start, and they have nothing to lose by trying to find her. They all agree that it is at least better than not knowing anything, and they decide to go on with their plan to clear up the misunderstandings around Aoi. With a beautiful smile on her face, Aoi appreciates the gesture and thanks everyone. The next day at school, they begin the plan with Izumi at the lead to help everyone get along with Aoi. Izumi strikes just at the right time when the teacher asks them to form a group for a project. Izumi cheerfully asks Aoi if she would like to join their group. The girls already in her group are shocked at first, but Izumi convinces them, saying Aoi is really easy to talk to, and she assures them that Aoi will be a good friend. Aoi nervously greets them, and the girls also try to go along, trusting Izumi's judgment. Akira watches the girls now getting along with Aoi and cannot believe how Izumi effortlessly executed the plan. Thanks to her incredible communication skills, their classmates gradually start to let their guard down and begin talking to Aoi. The plan is turning into a success, and slowly even Aoi is now able to talk to other girls on her own. However, Akira is a bit annoyed because recently, many guys have been coming to see Aoi during every break, making him quite jealous, although he does not admit it. Izumi ends up chasing them away, making Akira feel proud. But then she laughs at him, confusing him because he does not understand why she is laughing. During lunch, Aoi is eating with Izumi, who proposes that they volunteer together. This confuses her at first, but Izumi explains that she is already doing volunteer work for the school, like cleaning, visiting old people, and doing this will help the teachers have a better image of Aoi. Izumi says that she is volunteering at an orphanage to play with the kids and suggests Aoi join her if she is interested. She also adds that boys can come along if they want, as she was thinking of inviting them too. Without a second thought, Aoi agrees, which makes Izumi very happy. On Sunday, Akira sees there are a lot of participants as they reach the orphanage. Eiji is not with them, as he has other plans. As they enter the orphanage, Izumi explains that children from kindergarten to elementary school live here, surprising Akira because he did not realize there were so many kids in this situation. He reflects on how ignorant he was, and even Aoi is in the same situation as these kids. Before coming, he had asked Izumi if it was appropriate for Aoi to visit such a facility, but surprisingly, Aoi herself insisted on coming. Akira then asks Izumi what they will be doing today. She replies that they will be playing with the kids. When the orphanage staff opens the door in front of them, suddenly a bunch of children rush out, excited to see Izumi, which surprises Akira. The kids rush at Izumi to hug her, and they all gather around her excitedly, while there is one girl standing alone and watching the others. The trio is now having fun playing with the kids. Aoi is playing with the girls while Akira and Izumi play tag with the other kids. Akira stops to take a breath as he thinks to himself how it's possible that these kids have more stamina than he does. He tells Izumi he wants to take a break, and she continues to play with the kids. Akira had thought it would be easy playing tag with the kids, but now he realizes it is very difficult to play with such hyperactive children, especially for someone as quiet as him. Akira then notices that Aoi is genuinely having fun, making it all worthwhile. Their eyes meet, and he's struck by how beautiful she is. Approaching her, she asks if he's finished playing with the other kids. He is already tired of being humiliated, and he says he was thinking about playing with the other kids now. Aoi invites him to join them, and Akira agrees and sits down with them. The kids start to stare at him in awe and pull on his shirt, cutely asking if he's perhaps Aoi's boyfriend, making him blush deeply at the question. Realizing they are expecting an answer, he hesitates, unsure of how to respond. He glances over at Aoi, prompting her to say that he isn't her boyfriend, catching him off guard. The girls then ask if he's her husband, making Akira even redder. She clarifies again that he isn't her husband either, disappointing the girls. who lament that they won't be able to play the role of mom and dad. Akira feels a bit sad at how quickly she had denied the possibility, thinking to himself that even if he wasn't her boyfriend, it still stung. Just then, Aoi interrupts, telling the girls to wait. She says that, while he isn't her boyfriend or husband, he is someone very important to her. This statement moves Akira, and she asks if he is willing they could indeed play the role of mom and dad together. This sends Akira spiraling into a whirlwind of emotions, thrilling the girls as well. He agrees, thinking to himself that he can't believe she considers him someone so important, even if they aren't romantically involved. He begins to feel they might be getting closer. Just then, he notices the girl from earlier, who seems to be sitting alone. When he asks about her, Aoi explains that some people had tried talking to the girl but hadn't succeeded in getting her to speak. She speculates that the girl might be shy or prefer to be alone, but she seems too lonely. Aoi then stands up, saying she will go talk to the girl. Akira offers to go with her, but she assures him it is better if she goes alone, as they might overwhelm the child if they both approach her. She leaves, and Akira asks a nearby caregiver if the girl is always alone. The caregiver confirms, explaining that it has been 3 months since she arrived, and despite their efforts, she still hasn't responded to anyone. Akira reflects that 3 months is a long time for someone to adapt to a new environment, but it is also far too short a time for a child to process the loneliness of living away from their parents. He remembers how he too had a hard time at that age trying to adjust in his new school. The caregiver adds that the children there always come under different circumstances, so they try to provide personalized care. However, it seems this girl might be particularly difficult to reach. Akira realizes then that he is beginning to understand more about the meaning of volunteering. It isn't just about helping, it is about being patient and connecting with others, even in challenging situations, so the child can have someone to play with and not feel lonely. This worries Akira because they don't know how to help her. When the time comes to leave, Akira goes to Aoi to leave together, but as Aoi starts to get up, the girl pulls on her shirt and stops her. This confuses Aoi a bit as the girl asks her not to go. Aoi walks near the girl, takes her hand, and apologizes, saying she must go home but will definitely visit her again to play with her. The girl asks if she really means it. Aoi responds affirmatively, adding that next time they can paint something together, which makes the girl very happy. They even make a sacred pinky promise. On their way out, Akira tells Aoi that it seems the girl really wanted to spend more time with her. Aoi replies that it is true. Akira mentions that a staff member told him it has been 3 months since the girl arrived at the facility, and during that time she didn't want to talk to anyone. That's why he is genuinely surprised when she talks to Aoi. Curious, Akira asks what they were talking about before he arrived. Aoi responds that they didn't actually talk about anything, which confuses him even more. She explains that she just stayed by the girl's side without saying or doing anything, which surprises Akira. He thinks to himself that he can't believe a child can open her heart simply by having someone stay quietly by her side. Aoi interrupts to say that the girl reminds her a lot of herself when she was a child. Back in kindergarten, Aoi was very introverted and didn't have friends either. Like the girl, she wouldn't respond when spoken to and always stayed in the corner of the room. At that time, her parents were already having problems, and she was going through a tough time. Although she was lonely, she deeply wanted to have someone by her side and good friends like everyone else, but she was too afraid to tell anyone. Then, one day, a boy noticed her while everyone else ignored her. That boy always stayed by her side. They didn't talk or play together, and she believes he stayed with her just so she wouldn't feel lonely. Akira wonders if Aoi might have felt like that girl he once knew, the one who always sat alone in the corner of the room. His first love. He recalls how, no matter how much he tried to talk to her, she wouldn't respond. But when they finally managed to exchange a few words, he had to move away because of his father's job. He deeply regrets not being able to make the girl he loved smile during her moments of solitude. To him, it's simply a very bitter memory. Aoi breaks the silence, saying that to the girl, the people around her must have seemed strange. But she herself was very happy, so she decides to do for that girl what the boy had done for her back then. This leads Akira to reflect, thinking that because she went through a similar experience, she knows exactly how to understand the girl's feelings. Thanks to this, she is able to connect with her. Akira then thinks that, given her current situation, Aoi cannot afford to worry about others. That's why he thought it might be risky for her to visit the orphanage. But he realizes his fears were unfounded, as even in this situation, Aoi remains a kind and selfless person. She interrupts, saying that Akira is kind too. Akira denies this, but Aoi insists it's true because it mirrors what he did for her. This confuses him until she explains that, on that rainy day, he spoke to her and invited her to his home without asking for any details. Besides, he's still with her. Compared to what she and that boy had done, Akira is much kinder. Her words leave him speechless, struck by her sincerity. He begins to reflect on his past actions, wondering if he made the right choices or if he could have done better. But Aoi's words ease his heart, calming his worries. He then says they should revisit that girl, as he had promised. Walking home together at sunset, he feels like the sun seems brighter than ever. The next day, they prepare for their upcoming exams and decide to form a study group. Akira realizes he has forgotten about it since he has been so focused on spending time with Aoi. Izumi comments that it's nice to see Aoi being regarded more favorably now, but it's time to buckle down and study, or they'll face big problems. Akira agrees, recalling that the last time he saw Aoi's grades, they were in red. Izumi interrupts by asking Akira if they can meet after school, to which he agrees. Izumi and Eiji then announce they'll come to his house that evening to study together, prompting Aoi to thank everyone. That afternoon, Akira leaves the house to buy supplies for the study session, asking Aoi to watch the house while he's gone. Aoi responds by saying that she will clean the house until he returns. Akira agrees and begins to leave, while Aoi waves goodbye to him. Akira also waves back, but as he walks a short distance, he turns around to see Aoi still waving at him with a smile. Feeling shy, Akira waves again before continuing on his way. However, he stops once more, turns back, and notices Aoi is still waving. Akira, feeling increasingly flustered, starts thinking to himself that it almost feels as though they are a married couple, with Aoi as his wife. Quickly shaking off the thought, he tells himself to focus on his tasks and heads off to the mall. He reflects on how nice it feels to have someone waiting for you. When he first started living alone, it felt good for a while, but loneliness eventually consumed him, and he learned that the feeling of independence was only temporary. Now that he lives with Aoi, though, he doesn't feel that way anymore. They watch movies together after dinner, let each other know their plans for the next day before going to sleep, and even when they're doing separate things, just being in the same space makes him feel so much better. He's no longer alone. Having someone by his side has made him realize how rewarding it is. He thinks surprisingly, maybe he's the one who was saved by starting this life with her. At the mall, Akira considers preparing a nice dinner for everyone coming to his home to study. But as he starts planning, he realizes he has been living with Aoi for a month now, and he doesn't know what she actually likes to eat. She always eats whatever he cooks with enthusiasm, so he's never really paid attention to her preferences. Still, there's no time to dwell on regrets, and he decides he'll ask her what she likes to eat so he can get to know her better. Akira contemplates what items he should buy when he suddenly hears a voice from behind asking what he is doing. Startled, Akira turns around to find Izumi standing there. Akira tells her not to scare him like that. Izumi asks if he has come shopping as well, and then remarks that he doesn't need to worry about shopping since she has already picked up various items for both of them. She enthusiastically mentions that they will all have dinner together. Akira insists that she doesn't need to bother about these things, as he can handle everything himself. Izumi reassures him that it's fine and suggests they cook together because it will be more fun. He can't refuse her offer, so they end up heading home together. Izumi suddenly asks Akira if he has done anything with Aoi yet. Hearing this, Akira becomes nervous and asks what she means, emphasizing that they do not have that kind of a relationship. Izumi, sounding disappointed, asks if they haven't even kissed yet. Akira replies that since they aren't dating, a kiss is out of the question. Izumi accuses him of lying, questioning how a boy and a girl could live together without anything happening. Izumi, pondering, wonders aloud if Akira might actually like guys since he gets along well with Eiji. Izumi panics and warns him that Eiji is her boyfriend and she will not give him to Akira. Akira, confused, tells her she imagines the strangest things. Izumi persists, asking if he truly doesn't see Aoi in a romantic light, adding that she had expected something to happen. Akira indignantly replies that she has misunderstood him, clarifying that he is not that kind of guy. Still, he secretly thinks that it wouldn't be so bad if something were to happen. Izumi breaks the tension, saying she was just joking, but she did want to ask him why he helped Aoi. Akira says there is no special reason, and everyone has their reasons for helping someone. Unable to hide the truth, he admits that whenever he sees Aoi, he is reminded of his childhood love. When he saw Aoi sitting in the rain at the park, it brought back memories of that girl, and he couldn't just leave Aoi there alone. Izumi mocks him, saying she had always thought of Akira as pure. Akira gets flustered, saying that he still is. Izumi then probes further, asking what happened to his childhood love. Akira explains that during their childhood, they were in the same class. However, in the end, he had to transfer schools, and they lost touch, though he always wished he could make her smile just once. This makes Izumi feel a bit sad, and she asks if he remembers the girl's name. If he remembers her name, he could try to find her. He thinks about it but says he doesn't really remember, though he's fairly certain her last name was Shinoda. Still, he isn't entirely sure if that's correct. Izumi replies that there's nothing they can do in this case now. Akira reflects, hoping she's doing well wherever she is. He admits to himself that he'd love to meet her again, but knows it's impossible. Izumi remarks, before bluntly asking if he has any feelings for Aoi. He says no, but insists she doesn't have to put it that way. However, he also feels a bit sad about it. Akira explains he cannot approach Aoi with her situation because he would feel like he is taking advantage of her weakness. Suddenly, Izumi interrupts, declaring that he must make Aoi smile, no matter what it takes, and she does not wish that Akira regrets the same thing twice. Akira asks what she means by that. At that moment, they see Eiji waiting nearby. Izumi rushes toward him, and Eiji asks Akira if they were shopping together. Akira explains that they had met at the mall. Then, Eiji takes the shopping bags from Izumi. She smiles and hugs him, saying that she loves him. Seeing this, Akira wonders how he ended up stuck among these overly affectionate pairs. He starts imagining Aoi confessing her love to him, and how he will do the same. Snapping out of his thoughts, Akira tries to collect himself. Eiji notices his flushed face and inquires why it is red. Without explaining, Akira, on the verge of tears, heads home. When Akira opens the door, Aoi greets him, and he points to the door, saying he met with them on the way too. Izumi jumps onto her and asks how she has been. Witnessing this, Akira and Eiji are both surprised and comment on how well the two have bonded. They were completely opposites, but somehow something attracts them to each other. Akira reflects that every time he sees the two of them, he thinks of the sun and the moon, feeling like Aoi has grown much brighter with the extremely bright Izumi. Eiji comments that he understands, but he doesn't think Aoi's source of light is Izumi, which leaves Akira confused. Later, they all cook and eat to their heart's content. Izumi overeats and complains about feeling full. Eiji checks if she is okay, to which Izumi responds that she only needs a little rest. Afterwards, Akira decides to save the cherry mochi for tomorrow, which prompts Izumi to perk up with excitement. She then asks Aoi if she knows the tradition of eating late-night snacks. Akira remarks that he should have bought more sweets at the supermarket. Izumi gets the brilliant idea and suggests to Aoi that they go together to buy more sweets. However, Akira ends up stopping her, saying it's too late. Akira says that he and Eiji will go instead. He suggests that the two of them take a bath and wait for them. Izumi remarks that Akira is truly a good person, and Aoi agrees. This makes Izumi blush a little as she teases Aoi by asking how kind Akira is, prompting Aoi to start blushing too as she says that he takes care of her, listens to her, and is genuinely kind. This surprises everyone as they turn towards Aoi. This makes Akira think to himself that he had never considered Aoi in that way before. Her family situation must have been so harsh that she couldn't even express her feelings in words. Izumi encourages Aoi to talk more openly with Akira and express her feelings to him and be especially sweet to him. She suggests Aoi tell him what she wants to eat. Nervously, Aoi says she wants to eat some pudding. This surprises Akira, who finds her so adorable that he could buy the whole store for her. He agrees to buy some for her. Izumi then tells Aoi to keep chatting in the bath, confusing her. Aoi asks if she's really planning to join her in the bathroom, to which Izumi confidently agrees. Akira, thinking to himself, finds it impossible that Aoi wouldn't believe anything weird that Izumi tells her. Still, he admits he would be jealous if they bathed together. However, brushing aside those thoughts, he wonders when exactly the night turned into a girls' night. He starts imagining the scene of them bathing together, snapping back to reality and chastising himself for thinking such things. Izumi then interrupts, saying they will go and take a bath. Akira and Eiji also decide to leave for the convenience store. Akira and Eiji return from buying sweets at the store. Akira reflects that they definitely need to start studying once they get back if they want to pass their exams. Eiji interrupts his thoughts, asking if Akira thinks Aoi has a lot of trust in him. Akira replies, telling Eiji not to mock him just because he has a girlfriend. Eiji reassures him that he's not mocking, just curious if anything has happened between them yet. Akira hesitantly admits that nothing has happened so far. He explains that when they first started living together, it was awkward because he thought she was a gyaru, and she was always so quiet, speaking only when necessary. He believes that if it weren't for Izumi, Aoi might never have expressed her true feelings. Eiji agrees there is nothing they can do about it since it's difficult for complete strangers to suddenly start getting along. Akira now understands what Eiji was trying to tell him before. Communication is essential to protect a relationship between two close individuals. Without it, misunderstandings only grow until they reach a breaking point. If you don't put in the effort to understand each other, it becomes impossible to stay together, especially if they are of the opposite sex. Eiji smiles, saying that despite this, Akira and Aoi seem to get along well. Akira admits that, to be honest, he isn't sure. Recalling the time he saw Aoi in the rain, he doesn't know if it was the right decision to bring her home. Even though he's happy that Aoi trusts him and feels glad to help her even a little, he wonders what she really thinks about him now. He muses that perhaps there was another way to handle the situation, which makes him question whether what he did was truly necessary. Akira explains that he can't ask her about it, because if he did, she'd likely just tell him not to worry. He isn't entirely sure if what he's doing is the right thing, and this uncertainty is something he constantly carries with him. Eiji replies that he's wrong. Even if Akira believes his actions were unnecessary, that doesn't mean they were bad. This confuses Akira further, but Eiji continues, saying that it doesn't change the fact that he did save Aoi. This makes Akira blush slightly. Eiji adds that maybe there was a better way to handle things, and there are a billion ways it could have gone, but only Aoi knows what she truly feels. And he doesn't think she was lying when she said Akira was very kind. That's also one of the reasons she accepted his help. Akira feels his spirits lifted, and Eiji then remarks that when it comes to reserved people like Aoi, you have to try your best to help them, even if it means being as convincing as possible. He adds that it's also important to believe what she says and not overanalyze her words, and he should appreciate what's right in front of him. Akira cannot believe Eiji is just a high school student and so wise when it comes to relationship advice. Eiji smiles, saying he just found a girlfriend a little earlier than most. Akira now feels a lot better about his decisions and thanks Eiji for his wise words. Eiji replies that nobody in the world knows what's truly right. The best thing you can do is try your hardest, not overthink things, and not worry too much. After all, life is short, and high school won't last forever. As Akira heads home, he thinks to himself that there's a reason why Eiji is his best friend. He resolves to do his best, trust Aoi, and give it his all. The two of them return home, where Izumi and Aoi welcome them. Akira hands Aoi a bag full of pudding, and Aoi is shocked to see so much of it. Akira nervously explains that he didn't know which one she'd like, so he picked ones he thought she might enjoy. He quickly adds that she doesn't have to eat them if she doesn't want to. This makes Aoi smile, and she says it's fine, she'll try all of them. Her cute smile makes Akira blush, which Izumi notices and teases him, pointing out that his face has turned red. Akira quickly tries to deny it, saying he is not flustered at all. They are now all set with snacks and need to get studying. The girls have already set up the table, and Akira suddenly notices an empty box of snacks lying on the table. Izumi nervously laughs, knowing that she is the one who ate it, but Akira smiles and decides to not push it more. Everyone gets to study. They decide to start from the very first page. Akira studies and reflects that he needs to work hard to teach Aoi as best as he can, but her foundations are good. He acknowledges that it won't be easy, but feels certain it'll be worth it. The more he gets to know her, the more surprised he is at how wrong his initial impression of her was, and Akira feels confident about the exams. Soon enough, Izumi ends up falling asleep out of exhaustion since it is already past midnight. The group then decides they should call it a night, reasoning that they have the entire weekend to study. As they are wrapping up, Eiji asks where he and Izumi should sleep. Akira responds that there is a vacant room at the other end of the house where they can stay. They exchange goodnights, and Akira tells Aoi that they should tidy up a bit before heading to bed. She agrees, but adds that before doing so, she has something she wants to say. She hurries off to the kitchen and comes back with a couple of puddings, proposing that they could eat a little something together before sleeping. Akira grows nervous at her suggestion and starts to blush, but agrees. They sit on the couch together and start eating, with Aoi commenting on how delicious it is. Akira replies that it has been a while since he had pudding. Aoi shares it has been a while for her too, and she confesses a heartfelt memory. She recounts how, back when her parents still got along, her father would bring home pudding after work, and after she finished her bath, the three of them would eat together as a family. It was a cherished memory. Aoi quickly apologizes for sharing something so depressing. She shares that eating pudding with someone again brought her so much happiness. Fighting back tears, she cheerfully tells him that from now on, they can continue eating pudding together. This surprises Akira since his company makes her so happy, and he replies without hesitation that they can eat it every day if she wants. He tells her that they don't have to limit themselves to pudding. They can enjoy anything she likes and do things she finds fun. This brightens her mood, and she smiles radiantly, which makes Akira internally resolve to do anything to keep seeing that smile. She interrupts his thoughts to thank him sincerely for always being by her side and doing so much for her, including organizing the study session and introducing her to Izumi and Eiji. She confesses that because of him, she is able to make friends and is deeply grateful. Even though it might not have been the best time to say it, she admits that during the time her mom wasn't around, she had been in a dark place and never thought she'd get to enjoy such fun days again. And now, all of it is thanks to him. Aoi smiles, expressing heartfelt gratitude to Akira, her face overflowing with warmth and affection. Akira feels relieved. That smile erases all his worries since everything he has done so far wasn't pointless or a bother. Aoi mentions that he has helped her a lot, and she'd like to give him something in return, but she's terrible at cooking and can only help with cleaning. However, Akira interrupts, saying that it's more than enough, as the most important thing is that she enjoys herself. This confuses her a bit, but she still agrees, saying that if there's anything else she can help with, he shouldn't hesitate to tell her. Akira responds that he'll keep it in mind, thinking to himself that it's just as Eiji said, they must appreciate the little things in life, especially the moments shared with loved ones. As the weekend arrives, they spend time studying. Akira notes that they managed to review everything in 3 days, so this should be enough to get a good grade on the exam. Afterward, they part ways with Izumi and Eiji, who have to return home. As they leave, Aoi thanks them for their support. Izumi responds that there's no need to thank her since, after all, they're friends. She says they'll see each other at school, but before leaving, she remembers something, confusing the two and handing Akira a bag, saying it will be useful later, which is why she bought it. He opens the bag, realizing it's a packet of rubber, which shocks him and quickly slams the packet back into the bag and starts panicking. Aoi nervously asks him what's going on, but she doesn't understand his fear. Izumi interrupts, saying it's always good to be prepared. She then leaves with Eiji, leaving the two alone. Akira, still shocked, thinks he can't believe Izumi teased him like that, but still ends up storing the packet of rubber in his closet. After that, they continue studying for the exams. Aoi takes a break from her part-time job to focus on her studies. Akira handles the cooking and helps her when she struggles with problems. Their routine continues this way. And 2 days before the exam, Akira wakes up to get a glass of water and notices Aoi is still studying in her room. This worries him a little since they had agreed to finish and go to sleep already. He heads to her room with some snacks, surprising her. She asks if she woke him up, to which Akira replies no, apologizing for bothering her. Akira says he was thinking about rewarding her for her effort, and just brought some snacks for her. When Akira asks how her studies are going, she says that since they took the time to teach her, she's determined to do her best to get a good grade. This impresses Akira, as he realizes that she isn't just studying to pass, but to repay their kindness and effort. It's something only she would do, making him understand her even more. Interrupting his thoughts, Aoi says there's still something she doesn't understand. Akira, assuming it's math, offers to teach her. She responds that it's not necessary, but Akira tells her she does not have to worry about it. It's good that she's working hard to study, as he's sure that if she puts in the effort, her work will bear fruit. But it's also important to rest, and she's already earned it. This makes Aoi blush a little, and she thanks Akira while asking if he could do her a favor. Akira responds affirmatively, bringing the two closer. He asks what's wrong, looking up and finding his face really close to her now. They turn and stare at each other, and it almost feels like a kiss is imminent, but Akira suddenly screams, not able to handle the pressure, and he apologizes to her. He thinks to himself that he got much closer than necessary, and something almost happened, but he did not realize that Aoi was blushing too, waiting for him to make a move. Aoi, now completely red, apologizes to Akira too. This leaves him speechless, struck by her beauty. He quickly gathers himself, realizing this is not the time to get flustered. They're in the middle of studying, and it's not the time to get excited. Akira notices she's still very nervous about what just happened, so he calms things down, suggesting they continue. Aoi agrees and thinks to herself that she's sure all her effort and dedication will be rewarded. Later at school, everyone finishes the exam. Eiji asks Akira how it went for him, and he responds that it was no problem. It was a piece of cake. He's curious about how it went for Aoi, so they both approach. Akira asks Aoi if everything went well. Thinking to himself, he's grateful to Izumi that there are no more misunderstandings in the class for Aoi, and it has turned into a comfortable and familiar environment for her. She answers that she thinks it went well, or at least that she will avoid a failing grade, which makes Akira happy. He says that's incredible, and Aoi happily adds that it's all thanks to them. Akira tells her it had nothing to do with him. She worked hard, and that's why she'll pass. He thinks to himself that he'd like to praise her even more, but he can't say much yet without the final results. He thinks at least they can relax for a bit now. He then asks Aoi if she has to go to work today, offering to accompany her halfway. She agrees, but they're interrupted by Izumi, who says there's something she wants to tell everyone. This confuses them, but she says she'll explain on the way, so they all leave together. Izumi sends a text message to Akira, confusing him even more. She tells him not to overthink it and just open it. Akira realizes that Izumi wants to go to the hot springs. Akira asks Izumi what on earth she's talking about. She responds that going to the hot springs could be like a celebration for finishing the exams. Besides, he doesn't have much choice. She's already reserved a spot, leaving them all shocked. Akira, being clueless, ends up saying that the day after tomorrow is already so soon. Izumi responds that she doesn't care, and she asks if he has any other plans that day. He replies no, but insists it's polite to ask first. Izumi retorts that she already checked Aoi's plans for that day, but completely forgot about Akira. If he does have something, then it'll just be the three of them going. Akira realizes he just dug up a grave for himself, seeing how they were completely unfazed about leaving him out of the plan. Izumi mocks him, and finally they all agree to go together. Even Aoi seems really excited about it, as it's her first time doing something like this. Surprising both Akira and Izumi, Akira knows Izumi likes traditional Japanese culture and thinks it's a good opportunity for Aoi to enjoy these things too. Akira agrees because he wants to reward Aoi for her efforts. However, he sees that the prices are steep, but even so, he doesn't want to miss this chance. So he suggests they reserve and split the cost, putting in 2,000 yen each, making it more affordable. Izumi responds, teasing him not to act stingy, saying she already booked one room. This makes him nervous, and he blurts out, panicking, that they cannot all stay in one room together. Izumi says it was not an issue as they are all friends, while Akira thinks that if he's near Aoi, he might not hold back. Akira starts imagining them sharing the same bath, but he quickly grounds himself, realizing Izumi and Eiji might be comfortable with this, but Aoi would probably be embarrassed by the situation. Maybe even Eiji would not want his girlfriend bathing with another guy. Eiji quickly catches what Akira is thinking about and says that he is completely fine with it, which only confuses him further. Akira wonders if he's a good friend or just an idiot. Meanwhile, Izumi seems to have convinced Aoi to agree, which delights Akira, thinking he now has a chance. He convinces himself that if they regret it later, it's not his problem. This time he's determined to make it happen. As Izumi interrupts his impure thoughts, she asks Aoi where she works. Aoi responds that she works in a cafe near the station. Izumi excitedly mentions how close it is and asks if they can visit now. This makes Akira nervous, but Aoi agrees, leaving him thinking this wasn't how he expected to learn about Aoi's workplace. Still, he sees it as a step forward. Even Izumi is excited to see what Aoi does for work, and she also wants to discuss more about their trip. Aoi agrees, saying the cafe is not too busy on weekdays anyway. Soon after, they arrive at the cafe, where Aoi introduces them to her boss and gives them special treatment, delighting Akira as he's mesmerized by the sight. Soon after, Aoi brings out some snacks for them, and she is wearing a beautiful uniform. Izumi compliments Aoi, saying the uniform suits her perfectly, making Aoi embarrassed. Aoi denies it, but Izumi pulls out her ace, asking Akira if she's lying. This makes him even redder, but he gathers his courage and tells Aoi she looks beautiful, making her happy as she starts to blush and stare at Akira. But Aoi quickly remembers she needs to serve them, and her boss even sends them a treat, cheering up Izumi since it's free food. Akira notes that Aoi's boss seems like a good person, so there is no need to worry. After finishing the meal, they say goodbye, as Akira, like a true gentleman, decides to wait for Aoi's shift to end. However, what Akira doesn't expect is for the boss to appear in front of him, saying he wants to talk about Aoi. This leaves Akira very confused, but he asks what it is about. The boss replies that it seems like Akira is Aoi's friend, so he assumes he might know about her situation. This puts Akira on guard, unsure how much information this man has. The boss, noticing this, apologizes and clarifies that he doesn't mean to alarm him. He admits he doesn't know much about Aoi's situation, but explains that if you see a high school student working every day and all the time, it's not hard to guess there might be a complicated reason behind it. Akira thinks to himself that, in a way, the boss is right. He must have sensed that something was off with Aoi but still let her work without questioning her because, as he sees it, maybe the boss sympathizes with her. Some time ago, Aoi had told him she wanted to work after school hours, and since then, he had noticed her being much more cheerful every day. The boss is certain something has changed in her life, and today, after meeting them, he is convinced of it. He even admits that it's all thanks to them, which makes Akira blush slightly. The boss then says that it might sound strange, but he hopes Akira can continue getting along well with Aoi. Akira, relieved and realizing he has misunderstood the situation, responds that of course he'll look out for her and won't let her go. He adds that he's glad Aoi is working at the cafe and is sure she feels the same way. After all, if a high school student says they prefer working over attending school, a normal adult might refuse. Yet, the boss has accepted her decision without question, which shows his kindness. At that moment, Aoi interrupts them, apologizing to Akira for the delay and asking what's going on. Her boss explains that he was just having a little chat with Akira, but now they can go. He also praises her work and reminds Akira that he can come back any time, to which Akira replies that he definitely will since the cake is delicious. After leaving the cafe, Aoi asks Akira what he has been talking about with her boss. Akira thinks to himself that he can't really tell her the truth, so he decides to lie, saying they were just discussing how she sometimes makes mistakes with orders, and he gave her a small tip on what to do. She immediately calls him a liar, pointing out that she never makes mistakes with orders. This flusters Akira, catching him completely off guard. He hadn't known she could be this bold. Despite feeling like he has gained more than he expected that day, he still doesn't want to reveal what they have talked about. Aoi, frustrated, pouts and tells him he is mean. Akira apologizes, but as they speak, he realizes that her boss seems like a genuinely good person. Aoi agrees, noting how much she trusts her boss. After this, they arrive home, where Akira tells Aoi that she should go take a bath since it's already late. He insists that he can wait. She agrees, saying it's fine and that she'll be out in a moment. However, their plans are interrupted by the doorbell ringing. This annoys Akira, who grumbles, wondering who it could be at this hour. He quickly realizes who it is and starts to panic, leaving Aoi confused. He tells her not to worry but insists she should hide in her room without asking questions. Although she doesn't entirely agree, she ends up doing as he asks, confused. Akira reassures her, saying he'll explain everything later, apologizing to her as he pushes her into the closet. He hastily gathers anything that could link him to Aoi and hides it, hoping it'll be enough. Finally, he opens the door, apologizing for taking so long. It turns out to be his sister, Hiyori. She asks him why he was taking so long to open the door, but Akira nervously smiles, saying he did not expect anyone to visit at this time. He says if she's going to visit, it would be better if she gave him a heads up. She brushes him off with a smirk, retorting, why would she let him know that she is going to visit her own house? Akira thinks to himself that she has a point, but more importantly, hopes she doesn't find out anything. He tries to keep things casual, saying her visit is unexpected and asking if something happened. She responds that he hasn't communicated with their parents or told them anything, so she came to check if he is still alive. Akira reflects that it's true. Since the whole Aoi incident, he hasn't spoken to his parents even once. He apologizes to his sister for that, but she brushes it off, saying it's fine. She was also curious to see how he's been living, which leads him to nervously attempt to steer the conversation away before she notices anything suspicious. He's already more than ready to live on his own since he's in high school. To avoid the topic, he ends up asking how she's adapting to her new life at school and at home. She responds that it's great to feel like an only child, cheering up Akira because at least she's happy. Realizing this, Hiyori says that it also makes her happy to see him so cheerful. Still, she says it's very strange that everything is so clean, and she thought that a guy living alone would have the house in chaos. Although, if he had a girlfriend, his house would always be clean. She leaves Akira aside, who is nervously asking what the hell she's talking about. Before he finishes speaking, Hiyori ends up finding a strand of hair on the sofa, leaving him in shock because he doesn't know what to do. She says that it's too long to be his or hers, meaning that a girl was there. Now that she thinks about it, it took him a while to open the door, and it's very obvious that he's uncomfortable. He might have tried to deceive her by saying that the girl just came to hang out and that he didn't have time to clean the hair, but she just doesn't buy it. So, he has to introduce his girlfriend to her. This scares Akira because now he doesn't know what to do. This time he can't deceive her, so he ends up giving up and asks her to wait a moment. He ends up going upstairs for Aoi, telling her that he is very sorry, but he sees Aoi completely red and holding the packet of rubber in her hands. This leaves him in shock as he slowly realizes what Aoi was holding in her hands. Akira then tells her that it's not what she thinks and that he didn't buy them, and it's not like he has plans to use them. It's just that Izumi was a little worried and told him that they were necessary, so he left them around here, but he didn't intend to use it for what she might be imagining. This makes Aoi turn very red, and Akira thinks to himself that he's basically saying that Izumi gave it to him to use with her, and she's shocked, as if this couldn't get worse. His sister then appears, asking why there's so much noise, quickly realizing the situation and asking Akira if he's sick or if he wanted to do this while his sister was here. He responds that it's a huge misunderstanding, trying to convince her, making his sister a little uncomfortable and making Aoi even more nervous. But still, she says that for now, he should tell her what the hell is going on here. He responds, very scared, that it's fine, thinking to himself that this can't be happening. After some time, everyone sits down, with Hiyori impatiently waiting for Akira's response. Breaking the silence, Akira begins introducing her, saying her name is Aoi. Aoi shyly says it's nice to meet her. Akira then introduces Hiyori as his younger sister. Hiyori, though still annoyed, politely replies that it's nice to meet Aoi and thanks her for taking care of Akira. Aoi, flustered, clarifies that it's not she who has been taking care of Akira, but rather the other way around. Hearing this, Hiyori is taken aback. Akira admits that they've been living together, which shocks Hiyori further. She demands an explanation, prompting Akira to recount everything. After learning the truth, Hiyori acknowledges the situation, telling Akira she understands and forgiving him for keeping the secret. Akira, surprised by her reaction, asks if she truly means what she says. Hiyori assures him that what he did wasn't the wrong decision, and although it is considered common sense to help someone in need, not many people actually do it. Hiyori tells Akira that he is one of the few people who always helps someone in need, and he should be proud of himself for that. Akira smiles and thanks her for saying that. He nervously laughs, saying he expected her to be more surprised by this revelation. Hiyori assures him that she was surprised, but it wasn't unexpected as she's known what kind of person he is since he was little, and this isn't the first time he's reached out to someone. Akira realizes that she's talking about kindergarten. She went to the same kindergarten as him, and she must have probably seen what he did for that girl. Hiyori raises the concern about what would happen if their parents found out. There's no way any parent would look at an underage boy and girl living under the same roof and not have a problem with it. This question leaves Akira worried and in panic, and he hesitantly asks Hiyori to promise not to tell their parents. Hiyori, while agreeing to keep it a secret for now, warns that their parents will find out eventually, and asks what Akira plans to do then. Akira, unable to come up with a solution, remains silent. Observing his worry, Hiyori assures him of her support, much to Akira's amazement and gratitude. Hiyori tells him she already knows what he is planning and that is why he told her about everything. Since he trusted her enough to tell her about this, she does not have a problem helping him. She says she will let their parents know that everything is fine, and she will try to insist on checking up on him so it will buy them some time. Akira smiles, never expecting her sister to be this supportive, and he thanks her for her help. Hiyori tells him he does not have much time now and should get everything settled for Aoi before he leaves for another city. Hiyori then curiously asks how long the two of them have been dating, causing both Akira and Aoi to blush in embarrassment. When neither responds, Hiyori presses them to speak. Akira, flustered, clarifies that they are not dating, surprising Hiyori further. She questions how they could have been living together without being romantically involved, and accuses Akira of trying to fool her. Insisting on the truth, she bluntly asks how he is doing it with a girl who is not even his girlfriend. Akira panics and explains that it is a misunderstanding and nothing has happened between him and Aoi. Hiyori still does not believe him and asks him about that packet of rubber. Akira nervously explains that Izumi gave the packet to him as a joke, and he did not use it. He expects Hiyori to scream at him, but instead, she asks if he is even a guy. Hiyori still cannot believe a boy and a girl could coexist in the same house without any romantic involvement. Akira silently reflects on how much self-control he has exercised during their time together, and thinks Hiyori should have been proud of him instead. Turning to Aoi, Hiyori directly asks what she thinks of Akira and whether she is interested in him. This question leaves Aoi blushing deeply. Hesitantly, Aoi admits that Akira has helped her immensely and expresses her gratitude toward him. Hiyori, unsatisfied with the vague answer, clarifies her question, asking Aoi if she has feelings for Akira. Both Akira and Aoi are left stunned and embarrassed. Finally, Aoi, still blushing, confesses that Akira is a very important person to her. Akira is lost in thought when Hiyori suddenly becomes curious and moves closer. She asks Aoi openly to explain everything, particularly how her brother is important and what kind of person she thinks he is. Hiyori insists on hearing the full truth, leaving Akira uncomfortable. Just as Hiyori presses further, Akira stops her and suggests that they leave the conversation there for the day. Hiyori agrees but mentions that she has more questions to ask after dinner. After they have dinner together, Hiyori again asks Akira if he and Aoi are really not dating. Akira, who is washing the plates, responds that they are not. Akira still is grateful that Hiyori was cooperating with all this, and decides to buy her some sweets as a thank you. They continue talking for a while before Hiyori eventually leaves the next morning. Later, Akira, Aoi, Izumi, and Eiji are traveling to the hot spring by train. During the journey, Akira shares everything that happened. Izumi is shocked to learn that Hiyori had visited their house and exclaims that Akira should have told her since she wanted to meet Hiyori too. Akira explains that he couldn't inform her because Hiyori had come solely to see him and left early the next morning. Izumi becomes increasingly upset, saying she really wanted to meet Hiyori. Akira calmly states that there was nothing more he could do about it. Izumi, now in tears, wonders aloud why Hiyori was so distant from her. Akira reassures her, explaining that Hiyori did want to meet everyone but didn't have the time. He also mentions that Hiyori would surely message them soon and asks for forgiveness on her behalf. Eiji, attempting to calm Izumi, asks if this means they discuss the situation regarding Aoi. Akira admits that he initially wanted to hide everything, but Hiyori found out he was living with a girl. Izumi, trying to lighten the mood, says it's understandable since Hiyori is very intelligent. She then asks if Hiyori was angry about the situation. Akira clarifies that Hiyori understood their circumstances and even promised to help them while ensuring their parents wouldn't find out. Izumi, relieved, says she knew Hiyori would say that. Akira adds that Hiyori did tease him and Aoi a lot about their relationship. Izumi, laughing, says she expected that too but is glad everything worked out in the end. Meanwhile, Akira reflects internally, feeling slightly frustrated that everyone is so focused on whether he and Aoi are dating. He thinks about how they currently don't have time for a relationship, as he is about to transfer to a new school in a few days. He is still uncertain about the kind of relationship he has with Aoi, and he thinks he will only be certain about it once they manage to sort everything else out. They soon reach their destination, and Akira decides to think about this later and just enjoy their time here. The group soon reaches their hotel after almost feeling like they were lost in the woods. As they see the place, they decide to just go in and check if they are in the right place. The hotel is luxurious, and Akira and everyone else are astonished at the sight. After this, they proceed with the registration. They soon see their room, and they are completely blown away by the beautiful room. Izumi pulls Aoi along, showing her the baths and remarking how beautiful the place looks. Akira reflects that, for a high schooler like him, this hot spring feels truly extravagant. At that moment, Izumi comments that they should jump right in the bath and that the boys should change here while she and Aoi would use the changing room. As Akira starts to undress, he still has second thoughts, wondering if this is really okay. After all, they are still a group of adolescent boys and girls who will be bathing together. Now the thoughts are completely spiraling in his mind. Even if they are covered up with towels, the chance of accidental exposure is not zero, and it would be fine if that happens with him and Eiji, but it would be bad if it happens to Izumi and Aoi. He starts to imagine something lewd and thinks if that happens, he will gladly remove his towel too. He suddenly snaps back to reality when Eiji asks if something is wrong. Akira quickly hides the tension under his towel, and Eiji suggests they should hop in the bath first. Akira now soaks peacefully in the warm water, thoroughly enjoying himself. He finds it hard to believe how Eiji is so calm, knowing that the girls are going to join them in the bath soon. Akira sees that Eiji is sitting in the other bath beside him and asks why he is going in that one, but Eiji says it will be better having more space. Akira is still happy that he stopped having those impure thoughts when suddenly, Aoi and Izumi enter, shocking Akira. Izumi explains that this is a special bathing suit provided for use in the hot spring. Aoi adds that Izumi bought it for her, leaving Akira surprised. He realizes that this might be the reason Aoi agreed to share the room earlier. Akira glances at Eiji, wondering if he knew about this. Eiji gives him a knowing look, making Akira think that everyone except him was aware of the situation. Izumi, noticing Akira's expression, teases him by asking if he had imagined they would wear something revealing. Akira, flustered, denies it, insisting that everyone is misunderstanding him. But he is crying on the inside. Izumi then steps into the same bath where Eiji is soaking, making Akira realize that Aoi might also join them. He nervously looks at Aoi, who, while blushing, says she will come in as well. Akira tries to act cool and encourages her to hurry, though Aoi still seems shy. Observing all this, Akira suspects that Izumi and Eiji orchestrated the situation so he and Aoi could spend time together. He silently thanks Eiji for being so thoughtful. Aoi eventually joins the bath, and Akira becomes visibly embarrassed, noticing her exposed shoulders. Aoi comments on how nice the bath feels and how warm the water is, but Akira, still blushing, finds it hard to respond. Izumi then stands up and apologizes to Akira and Aoi for putting them in this situation. Akira assures her they aren't upset and internally appreciates their efforts. The group starts discussing plans for their summer break. Akira says there are only 2 weeks left for the break, and he is happy about it, but Aoi is finally starting to feel comfortable around everyone, and if they go on a long break now, all the progress they made will be worthless. Eiji agrees with this too, saying it would be better if Aoi's relations with other teachers and classmates were more solid before going into a long break. Akira has another concern. He only has 5 months left at school before he transfers. Izumi cheerfully interrupts his thoughts, saying he does not have to worry about anything, and they can still hang out with their classmates even during the break. She also promises to take more volunteering opportunities. Akira thanks them for helping out so much, and Izumi tells him she is just doing what she likes. Izumi shares that even though this started as a request from Akira, they now consider Aoi as one of their precious friends. Aoi never expected they valued her so much, and she starts to blush. Akira always thought he was putting a huge burden on Izumi and Eiji for helping Aoi, but now he realizes it was really rude of him to even think that. They tell him to just enjoy the summer break and not think about anything else. Akira then asks Aoi if there's any place she wants to visit. Aoi, after a brief silence, blushes and replies that she would love to go wherever Akira chooses, as she knows she would enjoy it. Her response surprises everyone. Izumi then moves Akira aside and sits beside Aoi, hugging her and calling her adorable. Aoi thanks her while Akira watches, wondering what the two of them are up to. After their bath, everyone sits together in the room. Akira's inquiry about their next destination is answered by Izumi, who mentions that they will visit a nearby shrine. Akira then asks about the distance, to which Izumi responds that it is not far, just a short distance away. That was far from the truth, as Akira soon realizes, now completely exhausted because the shrine they are heading to is situated at a high elevation. Akira sees Izumi and Eiji cheerfully climbing without any effort, and then he notices that Aoi is also tired. Offering his hand, he suggests they climb together to keep up. Aoi accepts his hand, thanking him. Akira internally remarks that he feels no embarrassment, and he notes how soft her hands are. Observing him lost in thought, Aoi inquires if something is wrong. Akira replies that he was only wondering if she might be upset about his sudden gesture of holding her hand. Aoi reassures him that she does not mind, which surprises Akira. Turning away shyly, he wishes that these stairs would go on forever. Aoi's hand is giving him all the energy he needs to keep going. After some time, they reach the top. Izumi and Eiji, upon seeing them, teasingly ask if they had held hands the entire way. Embarrassed, Akira nervously explains that he was only helping Aoi as she was tired. Aoi affirms this, agreeing with Akira. Izumi then playfully remarks that it isn't a big deal and suggests they move on. As they proceed, they encounter a 600-year-old tree, sacred to the shrine. Akira curiously asks about it, and Izumi explains that it is called the Wishing Cedar. It is believed that any wish made before the tree will come true. She shares her long-held desire to visit the spot, feeling fortunate to have the opportunity at last. Akira asks what wish she plans to make. Laughing, Izumi expresses her wish for Aoi's life to be filled with happiness. Aoi is startled by this, and Izumi begins making her wish. Eiji admits his skepticism about such beliefs but decides to make the same wish. Inspired, Akira joins in, declaring his wish for Aoi's happiness as well. Hearing this, Aoi becomes emotional. The three of them proceed to make their wishes. Observing this, Aoi starts to tear up. Akira notices her silently wishing with tears in her eyes and feels astonished. Afterward, everyone appears joyful as they head back. Izumi buys some charms at the store nearby, and she even buys one for Aoi. Aoi just smiles, still in disbelief. She never imagined having such caring friends. Later, they return home by train. Izumi and Eiji are asleep, while Aoi is sleeping with her head on Akira's shoulder. Akira tries to keep calm as he reflects on his upcoming transfer next year, and wonders how he will manage without his friends. Akira always thought he was used to moving schools, but this time it is different, and now he cannot imagine moving away from his friends, especially Aoi. Akira's mind wanders as he thinks about his past, and remembers the last time he felt this way, and he slowly falls asleep too. The group eventually returns home. A few days later, Akira and Aoi are returning from school. Akira still cannot believe that the first term will be over in a week. They have done so much in such a short amount of time that it feels like no time has passed at all. He is still happy that their plan worked, and Aoi's reputation has skyrocketed in such a short time. He never imagined things would turn out this way when he first met and helped Aoi back at the park. He wishes they can have fun over the summer too, and Aoi smiles, wishing the same. As they reach the house, Akira notices that his house door is open and wonders if Hiyori has returned. Before even looking inside, he starts to scold her for repeatedly entering his house without asking. However, upon entering, he finds his mother there instead. She greets him warmly, leaving Akira surprised. As he and Aoi step inside, Akira asks his mother why she is there. She replies that she had come to check on her son. Akira is feeling dizzy with thoughts swirling in his mind. He contemplates what would happen if his mother found out that Aoi is staying at their place. He feels he would be in serious trouble. At this moment, his mother asks Akira who the girl with him is. Hearing this, both Akira and Aoi freeze. Aoi is already nervous, and Akira starts sweating profusely. He can't think of anything else to say and blurts out that she is his girlfriend. Internally, Akira thinks his fate is sealed. His mother, surprised at first, soon smiles and expresses her happiness, saying it is a good thing that her son has grown up. Akira, feeling awkward, hesitantly agrees. She then invites them to sit and chat. Once they are seated, Akira's mother asks Aoi what her name is. Aoi introduces herself, and Akira's mother, delighted, remarks on how beautiful her son's girlfriend is. She then inquires about how long the two have been together. Both Akira and Aoi feel shy, but Akira responds that they have been together for the past month. Hearing this, his mother expresses her joy, saying it is wonderful. However, Akira asks her to refrain from asking such questions. Smiling, she agrees, but turns to Aoi and asks her opinion of Akira. Caught off guard, Aoi is speechless. Akira intervenes, knowing Aoi would not be able to lie her way out of this. He asks his mother to stop, but Aoi eventually speaks, saying she likes everything about Akira. Hearing this, Akira blushes, and Aoi continues, saying that Akira is always kind to her, smiles whenever he sees her, and gives her his full attention. She admits that although she doesn't have many friends at school, Akira's presence has brought her several friends. To her, Akira is an important person. Aoi also confesses that while she often causes trouble for him, he always helps her. If it weren't for Akira, she doesn't even know where she would be right now, and she is grateful for him being always there for her. She doesn't even know how to pay him back for his kindness. Aoi suddenly apologizes for speaking so much, and Akira is left stunned hearing this. His mother, laughing, says this reminds her of Akira's father. When Akira inquires further, she explains that his father was also not very sociable, but was exceptional at his work. Many people envied him, and she helped him by becoming his training supervisor. She adds that even today, Akira's father thanks her for that assistance in clearing up all the misunderstandings with his co-workers, and those memories remain dear to her. She says that she never thought even for a second that his father was causing her trouble, and she is sure that Akira has never thought that about Aoi either. She then assures Aoi not to worry about feeling inadequate for Akira, praising her as a sweet girl. She expresses her happiness that Akira has been so supportive of her. Aoi and Akira are both taken aback by her words. Akira's mother further encourages Aoi to consider their house her own and to stay as long as she wants. She expresses understanding of Aoi's situation and her happiness at having such a wonderful girl in her son's life. Hearing this, tears well up in Aoi's eyes, and she expresses her heartfelt gratitude. Later, Akira's mother announces that it is time for her to leave. She bids farewell to Aoi, who also says goodbye. Akira walks her outside to see her off. As they step out, he hesitantly asks if she will keep the situation a secret from his dad. She reassures him not to worry, promising not to reveal that he is living with a girl. She also adds that he doesn't need to hide anything from her and can share everything openly. Akira is surprised by her words. He still can't figure out how his mother discovered this arrangement. Almost as if reading his thoughts, she clarifies that she hasn't heard anything from Hiyori. Instead, she explains that she has noticed Hiyori acting suspiciously, which prompted her to check up on him. While helping clean the house, she had noticed signs that someone else was living there, and everything started to make sense. His mother then comments that Aoi seems like a very nice girl, and Akira agrees. However, she cautions him, asking whether what he is doing is the right thing. She understands that it must be a terrible situation if someone has to live with a complete stranger, and she can imagine that Aoi must have endured a difficult life to be faced with a situation like this. Akira agrees, and she reminds him that involving himself in someone else's life comes with significant responsibilities. Akira, feeling nervous, can't stop thinking about Aoi. Despite his anxiety, he responds that he wants to do everything he can for her and is determined to support her. Hearing his resolve, his mother is initially shocked but eventually nods in agreement. She tells him that as long as he manages everything responsibly, she won't inform his father about any of this. Before leaving, she asks him if they are really not dating. Akira is surprised that his mother noticed that too, and his mother smiles, saying it is written all over their faces. Before she can say anything more, Akira stops her, saying he does not have any ulterior motives. She decides not to poke further and asks him to make sure to keep thinking about his feelings, and not to pretend as if it is nothing. He will only regret it later. As soon as she leaves, Akira's phone starts ringing. It's a call from Hiyori, and she informs him that his mom is heading to his house. Akira, already frustrated, responds that mom has already left and now knows everything. Hiyori apologizes, admitting she couldn't do much to help him. Akira reassures her that it is fine and not to worry about it. Akira asks if she has heard from Izumi, and Hiyori reveals that she has told Izumi about her moving schools. Akira apologizes to her for making her keep it a secret. Hiyori tells him not to worry about it, as she already knows how he feels about everything. As the call disconnects, Akira is amazed that both his mom and Hiyori have such good intuition, and he feels he does not appreciate that enough. Akira decides to think properly about what his mom said and what he is going to do from now on. Later, everyone is gathered around Aoi's desk in class, reviewing her test papers. To their delight, she passes all her exams. Izumi hugs her, praising her for doing such an amazing job. Akira expresses hope that the teachers will finally be impressed with Aoi. Eiji remarks that it's bound to happen since she scores excellent marks. Izumi then shares that they receive a message from the orphanage they visited earlier. Izumi reveals that Aoi went out of her way to keep her promise with the little girl and found time to meet her. The staff sends their regards to Aoi and asks the teachers to convey their gratitude as well. Hearing this, Akira feels a sense of happiness, thinking that people will finally see the real Aoi. Izumi continues, pointing out that their efforts to improve Aoi's reputation are successful. Akira, watching her enthusiasm, silently acknowledges how much Izumi has helped them. Akira never imagined this feeling of seeing their hard work finally take shape. Now the only problem left is to find a place for Aoi to live, and the only lead they have is Aoi's grandmother. But Akira has no idea how they should proceed. Suddenly, Izumi suggests celebrating this success with a party. Akira hesitates, reminding her that they just went to a hot spring a few days ago. However, Izumi insists that Aoi's hard work deserves a proper celebration. Akira agrees, realizing her suggestion makes sense. The group decides to gather at Akira's house to celebrate Aoi's achievement. Everyone is in high spirits. Aoi thanks them sincerely, and Izumi, brimming with excitement, mentions that their upcoming summer break will be even more enjoyable now, with less focus on studying. She enthusiastically suggests trips to the mountains or even to a swimming pool. Akira interrupts, reminding everyone that they still need to resolve Aoi's main issue. He points out that they've all been so focused on other things that they've completely forgotten about it. Izumi, realizing this, admits she had overlooked it too. Akira states that they need to act quickly to find Aoi's grandmother so she will have a place to stay before he leaves. Aoi watches the exchange, tears already welling up in her eyes. Izumi then points out that Aoi's grandmother won't be easily found and asks if anyone has a plan. Akira admits he doesn't have one and acknowledges that the situation is a serious problem. Hearing this, Eiji suggests that exploring the area might help. He explains that the more they wander, the more likely they are to gather useful information, and there's a chance they might even find Aoi's grandmother. Akira turns to Aoi, asking if she thinks exploring is the right approach. Aoi thanks everyone for their concern but expresses that she doesn't want their summer vacations to be ruined because of her. Izumi immediately jumps to her side and pleads with her not to say such things, emphasizing that they are all friends and should help one another. Akira agrees, supporting Izumi's words and saying that helping each other is the right thing to do. Moved by their encouragement, Aoi expresses her deep gratitude to everyone. Later in the evening, Akira sees it's getting late and, already feeling sleepy, stands up and mentions that it's time for him to go to bed. Meanwhile, Aoi seems lost in thought, sweat forming on her forehead. Noticing her unease, Akira asks what's wrong. Aoi, looking nervous, replies that it's nothing and that she's just thinking about something else. Akira assures her that if she has anything to share, he's ready to listen. Blushing slightly, Aoi insists it's nothing and urges him to go to sleep. Akira lies on his bed, lost in thought, trying to figure out why Aoi seems so troubled. He can't shake the feeling that he might have upset her or done something wrong. While he's caught up in his worries, Aoi quietly approaches and lies down beside him. Startled, Akira turns to look at her and asks why she's there and if something has happened. But Aoi stays silent, her expression calm, offering no response. He starts to think about why she is doing this, but Aoi remains silent and calm. Suddenly, Aoi speaks, saying she wouldn't have any problem with anything. Unsure of what she means, Akira starts to panic and asks for clarification. Aoi explains that he can do whatever he wants with her, and she wouldn't mind if he wants to use the thing that he got from Izumi. Startled by her words, Akira sits up in shock, trying to process what she just said. He begins questioning why Aoi is acting this way so suddenly. He realizes this is not a dream, but he cannot believe that Aoi is saying something like this. Aoi then tells him that she wants to repay him for everything he has done for her. Surprised, Akira responds with a gentle smile and reminds her that there is no need for repayment. He explains that he has told her before that she doesn't owe him anything. At his words, Aoi becomes upset and starts crying. Through her tears, she asks if she isn't enough for him. Shocked, Akira quickly tries to reassure her. He explains that she should never feel obligated to repay someone by using her body. Akira admits he is interested, but this is not about whether she is good enough or not. His intention in helping her was never to receive anything in return. All he ever wanted was for her to be able to stand on her own and hold herself in high regard. Hearing this, Aoi quietly agrees. Akira knows he has received plenty because of Aoi, and if they didn't end up living together, he would have never realized how lonely he was living all by himself. Akira had only realized that this happiness he felt was all thanks to Aoi, but he could not express this to Aoi and never imagined she felt this way. Akira says they should get back to bed, but he notices how sad she looks as she walks away and leaves the room. The next day, when they are cleaning the dishes, they talk about the summer break starting the next day, but the tension is still in the air. Akira wonders why Aoi is acting the same as usual, like nothing happened between them last night. Akira wonders if he should have talked about it more with her. He realizes he should have at least expressed his feelings properly to her. At the school, Izumi asks Akira about Aoi's whereabouts and wonders why she hasn't arrived yet. Akira replies that he doesn't know, but assumes she might come soon. Izumi suggests that Aoi could be unwell, but Akira denies it while thinking to himself that he cannot reveal what happened the day before. Izumi speculates that Aoi might be caught up with something, but Akira advises against making any sudden assumptions and suggests they wait for her. Despite his words, he starts feeling uneasy, noting that Aoi not messaging him is unusual. Akira starts to get worried and informs Izumi and Eiji of his plan to go look for Aoi. He asks them to notify the teacher in his absence. Eiji agrees, pointing out that since today marks the end of their classes, their summer vacation will soon begin. Akira quickly leaves, thanking them as he rushes off. While running, he wonders if Aoi might still be at home. He hurries back to his house, opens the door, and calls out for her. The silence that greets him is unsettling, and Aoi is nowhere to be seen. Shocked, Akira realizes he hadn't noticed earlier that Aoi's shoes were missing. His eyes fall on a piece of paper lying on the bench. Picking it up, he reads a message left by Aoi, thanking him for everything. Reading the note, Akira feels a surge of alarm, fearing that Aoi might have left. He struggles to believe it, thinking it can't all end so suddenly. Desperation takes over, and he starts running, his mind filled with thoughts of Aoi. He pleads silently, hoping she hasn't gone far and wishing for just one more chance to see her. Determined, Akira heads to the cafe where Aoi works and asks the boss if he has seen her. The boss, unaware of the situation, explains that Aoi has the day off. This response only heightens Akira's anxiety. He hurriedly gives the manager his contact number, asking to be notified immediately if Aoi shows up. Akira searches everywhere he can think of, but finds no trace of her. As a last resort, he decides to call Eiji. When Eiji answers, he immediately asks if Akira has found Aoi. Akira explains that he hasn't, and shares his discovery that all of Aoi's belongings are gone from the house. This leaves both Eiji and Izumi shocked. Eiji suggests that Aoi might have left the city. When Akira presses him for a reason, Eiji speculates that Aoi could have gone to her grandmother's place if she needed somewhere to stay. Akira is stunned by the thought. Izumi, however, has a different opinion. She believes Aoi might be feeling lost and overwhelmed. Her words make Akira reflect deeply on his time with Aoi, and he realizes he doesn't want those memories to fade away. Izumi then suggests that Aoi might be in a familiar place, somewhere that holds meaning for her. She urges Akira to think about where that might be and look for her there. This sparks a memory in Akira's mind. He recalls Aoi mentioning once that she fondly remembered her kindergarten days. Acting on this clue, he asks Eiji and Izumi if they know where Aoi went to kindergarten. Eiji admits he doesn't, but Izumi says she does and sends him the location. Akira thanks her and checks the address, surprised to see it is the same kindergarten he attended as a child. As this memory resurfaces, thoughts of his first love flash through his mind. At that moment, it starts to pour. Akira knows he has no time to waste. He starts running and soon reaches his old kindergarten. Memories flood back as he looks around, recalling the girl he once met here. As he scans the area, his heart pounds until he finally spots something. Letting out a sigh of relief, he sees Aoi standing there, drenched in the pouring rain. Akira knew if Aoi is out in the rain troubled by something, he will do it for her as many times as it takes. He will be there for her. Akira rushes over and shields Aoi from the rain, urging her to come inside before she gets sick. She looks at him in surprise, tears welling up in her eyes. Concerned, Akira repeats that staying in the rain will only make her catch a cold. He asks if this is the kindergarten she went to. Aoi agrees, saying she wanted to see it one last time. Akira, taken aback, begins to piece things together. He vividly remembers the girl he once tried talking to and followed around in kindergarten, but they were separated because of her father moving for work. Akira now clearly remembers that girl's surname. It was Shinoda. He knew even if Aoi shared a similar past, that girl could not have been Aoi. Hesitantly, he asks if her surname was different from when she was in kindergarten. Aoi nods and reveals that before her parents' divorce, her name was Shinoda. The revelation leaves Akira stunned. It feels as though the ground beneath him is slipping away as he realizes that Aoi is the same girl, his first love. This moment feels almost surreal, like cinema, as he understands that he is already reunited with her. Just then, the rain stops and warm sunlight hits them. Akira breaks into a gentle smile, suggesting they head back home. Aoi hesitates, looking startled, and says she cannot return. Concerned, Akira asks why. Tears begin streaming down Aoi's face as she explains that she doesn't want to cause him any more trouble. Her words catch Akira off guard, but he reassures her, saying she's not a burden and reminding her that they're friends. Aoi shakes her head, saying she knows he, Eiji, and even Izumi don't fully understand what she's going through. Akira insists that Eiji and Izumi feel the same way, but he's confused about why she's so upset. Aoi begins to open up, confessing that the real problem isn't them, it's her. She explains that while she deeply appreciates all the help she's received, she feels overwhelmed and unable to repay it. She admits that she can't keep handling everything on her own. Akira watches her, realizing the weight of her words. He understands now why she acted the way she did the night before, and knows that this is the moment to finally express how he truly feels. Akira holds Aoi firmly, telling her that he is doing all of this because he wants to be with her. He moves closer to her, saying that he is not doing this only for her sake, and that he truly wants to stay with her. Aoi, still crying, looks at him in shock. Akira continues, explaining that he stepped in to help her because he knew she was going through a tough time. He shares how he spent his childhood constantly moving schools because of his father's job transfers, believing it was just a normal part of life. But everything changes after meeting friends like Eiji and Izumi and spending time with her. For the first time, he realizes his true feelings. He admits that he doesn't want to leave this place, and that he is becoming a different person. All because of her. She is the one who makes him realize how happy he can be just by sharing some time with someone. He tells her she has paid him back more than enough. Aoi drops her bag and hugs him. Akira asks her if there is any way that she could still stay. Akira tells her he needs her in his life. Aoi is overwhelmed with emotion, saying she never had someone say that they needed her before, and asks him if it would be all right if she stays. Akira smiles as they hold each other and decide to go back home together. Later at the cafe, Eiji casually asks Akira how it feels to have found his first love. Embarrassed, Akira blushes and tries to downplay it, saying it doesn't feel all that special and that everything feels the same. Curious, Akira then asks Eiji how he knows so much about Aoi. Eiji explains that he, Aoi, and Akira attended the same kindergarten. He adds that he and Aoi also went to the same elementary and junior high schools. Hearing this, Akira suddenly feels overwhelmed and starts to tear up, demanding to know why Eiji never mentioned this before. Eiji simply laughs and says it wouldn't have been as fun if he had revealed everything from the start. Annoyed, Akira glares at him while Eiji goes on to explain that he always believed fate had brought them together and that fate would eventually help them reconnect. However, even he hadn't imagined that Akira and Aoi would end up living under the same roof. This comment makes Akira blush again, and he dismisses it as nonsense, quickly turning to Izumi to ask if she knew about any of this. Izumi shakes her head, saying she didn't, but admits she was thrilled when she found out. She then asks Akira what Aoi said to him about all of this. Akira awkwardly admits that Aoi hasn't said anything and that he hasn't confessed any of it to her yet. Izumi, frustrated, demands to know why he hasn't told her. Akira tries to defend himself, saying it's too difficult to admit to someone that they were his first love back in kindergarten. Izumi argues that confessing is his only option, but Akira retorts that it's easy for her to say that. He explains that since they've known each other for so long, confessing now feels too ridiculous. Sighing, Izumi says she understands his hesitation, but suddenly decides to tell Aoi everything herself. She begins calling out to Aoi, who is busy working in the cafe. Alarmed, Akira quickly tries to stop her, pointing out that Aoi is in the middle of her shift. Aoi looks over, noticing the commotion, and asks if something happened. Akira nervously assures her that nothing is wrong and tells her to focus on her work. Eiji then steps in, suggesting that Izumi let it go for now. Izumi sighs in frustration, calling the situation boring, but she eventually drops the matter. Eiji tells her not to rush, reminding everyone that there's plenty of time during the summer break and that the fun is just getting started. Aoi arrives with a plate of sandwiches and asks if she can join them, mentioning she's on her lunch break. She explains that the boss made enough sandwiches for everyone and asked her to share them. As usual, Izumi is the first to grab a bite and cheerfully suggests they start planning for the summer break. She says she wants to visit all the fun places this year and also search for Aoi's grandmother's house. Izumi then asks if Hiyori will be joining them, pointing out that her help could be useful. Akira thinks for a moment before saying it shouldn't be a problem. Izumi, delighted, says she'll text Hiyori right away. A moment later, she announces that Hiyori agreed to join them and will stay over for the entire break. Akira feels his dreams of spending a quiet summer with Aoi shattering, but quickly regains his composure, deciding not to dwell on it. The group cheers, excited about their summer plans, while Izumi eagerly starts jotting down ideas as they have lunch. Meanwhile, Akira and Aoi exchange smiles. It will soon be 2 months since Aoi moved in, and Akira knows this summer is going to be the busiest of his life. For their first destination, the group heads to the water park. Akira feels uneasy seeing such a large crowd, but Izumi cheerfully points out that everyone loves going to the pool in the summer. Eiji remarks that it's less crowded than the last time he came with Izumi, but Akira still feels his energy draining from being around so many people. Izumi playfully tells him not to be such a downer and to get excited. She teases him, saying he'll perk up once he sees Aoi's swimsuit. Embarrassed, Akira yells at her, but Izumi leans in and whispers that Aoi's swimsuit looks amazing. Akira starts to blush as his imagination runs wild, only to realize he's been thinking out loud. When Aoi turns to ask what they're talking about, Akira panics and insists it's nothing. Izumi drags Aoi with her to buy swimsuits while Akira's thoughts spiral. He imagines Aoi in a one-piece swimsuit, then a bikini, thinking it might be even better. Snapping back to reality, he catches Izumi smirking, fully aware of what he was imagining. Feeling flustered, Akira wonders if coming here was a good idea. He reminds himself they have more pressing matters to deal with, like finding Aoi's grandmother. He voices his concerns, saying he can't fully enjoy himself and feels like they're wasting precious time. He knows summer break is a month long, but they also have plans to volunteer at the elementary school. Eiji reassures him that they want to search for Aoi's grandmother too. But this is their last summer break with Akira, and he wants to make memories with everyone. Izumi smiles, agreeing with Eiji, and asks Aoi for her opinion. Aoi nods and walks closer to Akira, looking into his eyes. She softly tells him that she wants to make memories with him as well. Akira realizes his friends are right and decides to let himself enjoy the day. Everyone heads to the changing rooms. In the boys' locker room, Eiji advises Akira to take things slow and not rush, explaining it would be better for Aoi too. Akira looks confused, so Eiji clarifies. He knows Akira wants to find Aoi's grandmother as soon as possible, but if that's all they focus on during the summer, it might weigh heavily on Aoi. While she would appreciate their help, part of her might feel guilty, which could cause her to hold herself back. Eiji mentions that both he and Izumi have been worried about this happening. Akira realizes they've noticed it too, and recalls the day Aoi tried to leave because she felt overwhelmed by everyone's kindness. He knows he doesn't want her to feel that way again. Eiji adds that he has noticed a change in Aoi recently. She has become more talkative, laughs more often, and expresses her feelings more openly. However, he admits he doesn't know what caused this shift. Akira reflects on Aoi's wish to make memories with him, and starts blushing as he realizes Eiji's observations are true. Eiji says this change in Aoi is a positive one, and that's why they should make sure to have fun together while also looking for her grandmother. This way, Aoi won't feel stressed. Akira understands he was about to unintentionally put pressure on Aoi by being too focused on their search. He thanks Eiji, who tells him to direct his gratitude to Izumi. Eiji explains that Izumi had pointed out how caring deeply for someone can sometimes cause you to lose sight of what's obvious. Izumi wanted to support both Akira and Aoi's feelings. Akira realizes how mature Izumi is for her age and feels reassured. He's confident that even if he moves away and changes schools, Aoi will be in good hands with Izumi and Eiji. Akira and Eiji change into their swimwear and start walking near the pool. Akira begins to panic again when he sees the massive crowd. Eiji tries to calm him, mentioning that it was even more crowded when they last visited during a holiday. However, this only makes Akira more anxious. They suddenly hear Izumi calling out to them. Turning around, Akira sees Izumi and Aoi walking toward them. Both are in swimsuits, but Aoi is awkwardly hiding behind the things she's carrying. Izumi tells her to put the stuff down, but Aoi, turning bright red, clings to it tightly. Izumi teases her and starts pulling the items away until she finally manages to succeed. Akira is stunned, his mouth hanging open as he stares at Aoi. She's wearing a white ruffled bikini with a floral design that feels both elegant and charming to him. He also notices her hair tied up in a ponytail, which he finds to be the most striking detail. The sight of the back of her neck, he thinks, is just as captivating as an exposed belly button or the hint of a bra through a shirt. His fascination is thanks to the research he did online the previous night. Akira snaps back to reality when Izumi teases him for staring too much. Embarrassed, he panics and denies it, yelling in a flustered tone. Izumi then nudges Aoi, encouraging her to talk to Akira. Aoi hesitates but agrees, walking up to him with a shy smile. Blushing, she cutely asks what he thinks of her swimsuit. Akira's face turns completely red. He didn't expect her to ask for his opinion and is at a total loss for words. His mind goes blank, and he feels himself getting dumber by the second. Izumi teases him again, urging him to say something when a girl asks such a question. Completely flustered, Akira finally manages to stammer out that the swimsuit suits her really well. Aoi blushes even more and thanks him, hiding her face in embarrassment. She admits that she didn't want to buy a swimsuit that revealed so much skin, but Izumi convinced her, saying that high schoolers should wear bikinis. Hearing this, Akira glances at Izumi and silently thanks her, amused at how much thought she put into this for the boy's sake. Izumi cheers, urging everyone to jump into the pool. Aoi hesitates and stops Akira, confessing that she isn't a strong swimmer. Akira reassures her that they can stay in the shallow area and that he will be there with her. Relieved, Aoi thanks him with a smile. Meanwhile, Izumi dives into the pool and shouts for them to hurry up. Akira jumps into the pool first and holds onto a floaty, encouraging Aoi to jump in. Nervously, Aoi agrees and jumps, landing safely on the floaty. Akira quickly lets go, but his hand accidentally brushes against her in an awkward spot. Before either of them can react, Izumi calls out, urging them to join her. As they play in the pool, Eiji swims over to Akira and points at the large bucket contraption overhead. Akira immediately recognizes how it works. It fills up with water and tips over once it's full, drenching everyone beneath it. Eiji and Akira exchange a knowing look and silently agree on their plan. They start pulling the girls' floaties toward the bucket. Before Izumi and Aoi realize what's happening, Izumi notices the bucket right above them. In the next instant, the bucket tips over, soaking them completely. The girls scream, and Izumi begins scolding the boys. Akira teases her, claiming his hand slipped, while Eiji tries to calm her down. Akira swims over to Aoi and asks if she's all right. Smiling, Aoi says she's having a lot of fun spending time with everyone like this. Akira agrees and suggests going for another round, much to the girls' dismay. Everyone continues enjoying themselves, and Akira finally starts to relax and have fun. After playing in the pool for a while, Izumi says she's getting hungry. They all decide it's time for lunch. As they eat, Akira notices how well Izumi and Aoi are getting along. They sit together, chatting easily, and after finishing lunch, Eiji announces that it's time to start their strategy meeting on how to find Aoi's grandmother.
That's all for today. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what happens next. If you've got any suggestions on which manga I should cover next, drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!